Hit it,
It's
dude.
all
Hit
we
that theme
talk
song,
about.
son.
Oh shit, we're 1 minute past.
Yeah, of course
Theme
we are.
song
I
is
told you
go.
this is why you shouldn't have done it live. That's why I told you not to do
Nope.
it live. It's all right.
I already botched the theme song.
I am super duper cereal.
Yeah, great. Just blow right into your mic.
Can you hear me? Are your
I
level?
can
Are,
hear you
are
great.
my levels good?
Hey, and we're live once again. And not a single person's on, but hey, that's not the point anyway.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're recording anyway.
So dude, how you been
So,
since I talked to you earlier today?
I've been good.
Yeah, you been
Yeah,
good?
right. I've been good.
I
had a
talked to you
moment.
like 4 times today. It's been great.
I know. I did, but I had a moment. I had a lull.
Mood-wise?
Yeah, not a negative, just emotional. I
Yeah.
was just thinking about Uncle Jim again. And it was just it is what it is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So,
man.
It is. I
Well-
know it sucks. It
Well,
does.
you always have Tuesday night to look forward to, my friend.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, you know what too, dude, is I actually got it was a letter from her brother,
Mm.
or his sister. Brain fart. So that was, it was a thank you card. So, but it was nice. So whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Other than that, they've been good. Life is good. Work is, work is work.
Work is work.
Keeping busy. My son is doing well.
Good.
A little boogerman.
Little booger.
How are
man.
you? What's new with you?
Not a whole lot, man. Just trying to do a lot of podcast work, do some work for my mom and shit. You know.
Nice.
I worked on her. Got a new logo for the travel business. The logo was, if anybody hears this that made the logo, I'm sure it was great when you made it in 1995 or whatever it looks like. It's
It
fine.
needed an upgrade. It's
Yeah,
time for an
it
upgrade. There's
needed-
nothing
it
wrong.
needed an
Change is
upgrade.
good, man.
Yeah.
Got to embrace change. You
Yeah.
got to embrace change. If you're not embracing change, dude, you become stagnant.
If you ain't growing, you're dying.
I wish you had a word like that rhymed with growing. That would have stuck with my head more.
Oh, if you ain't growing,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. If you ain't growing, you're hoeing.
Yo,
Yep. I don't fucking know.
I think isn't it aren't host jobs to make you grow?
Somebody involved is
Boom.
growing. And that is the single bad joke you're gonna hear tonight, folks. The single bad
The
joke.
single bad joke. Oh man, I gotta get rid of all the rest of these now. Nice. All right.
I do have a sponsor. Should I wait maybe like halfway
It's your
point?
call,
drop
dude.
the
I don't know what they
sponsor?
paid for. I don't know where they paid. It doesn't make a difference.
I'll
It
wait.
doesn't matter. Majority of the time, it doesn't matter because they would have specified. If they didn't specify,
They didn't
you're gonna go on a
specify.
whim.
I'm just gonna feel it out.
Maybe I'll have to take a piss break in a little while. That's when you throw your spot down.
Yeah, but I want you to hear it though.
It'll make me listen to the whole
It's
thing.
a great okay. Or at least till where we know you peed.
Or I'll just fast forward until I disappear and then watch.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, dude, because when I edit the podcast, there's back in the day when we had lower quality tech for our operation here, when the call would drop, when the video call would drop, I would have to edit those parts out in the video before I post it.
Yeah.
So what I would do is look for, there's like a little audio thing because I can't see every frame of it when I start.
Right. You
So
would
I
just see the.
I would see the audio drop out because I'm just sitting there like,
Jake, see this?
hey.
Well, I would think for the most part, that's what you got to mark. That's got to do more with camera work so much, dude. When you know,
I
when
have to
it's
look at
time, you
the
have to
recording time and
reference
stuff
that-
like that. Yeah.
You need to look at the record
Well,
time.
that's
and
the tough
everything like
part
that, dude. It's
about-
one of the things I learned in that school, dude. is you
Well, yeah,
have to-
that's what's tough about being the producer,
Well,
host.
listen, I'm going to
blah,
give
blah,
you a quick
blah.
hint, dude. Yes, I agree with you, and I'm not, dude. But one of the biggest things I've realized during when I was doing editing, video editing,
Mhm.
it makes you a better camera person.
Mm.
And it makes you a better director overall because you're paying attention to those certain things. You're paying attention to those certain inflections in people's voices, whatever it might be, dude. You're going to be able to cover those quicker
Yeah.
and get through the video editing side of it when you're like, oh yeah, I looked at my watch. It was 7:15.
Right.
That's the third time I said 7:15. Did you notice that?
No.
We referenced time a couple times since we started talking. That's like the third time I referenced
Whoa.
7:15. I'm gonna write 7:15
Hey,
down.
viewer, somebody's watching. I don't know who it is. Hey,
Good,
viewer.
fantastic, good. All right. Yeah,
By the way,
7:15. I don't know why.
by the
That
way,
makes me want to read that.
I'm drinking cherry chocolate stout by Sierra
Cherry
Nevada
chocolate.
Brewing.
Nice.
Yep, it's pretty
And
good.
I'm on the Two Roads Unorthodox.
Two Rods and Orthodox, wonderful.
Yep. Because we all about that stout.
We bought that stout.
Yeah.
So anyway, we listed some specific animals. I don't think we mentioned the specific animals we were going to talk about, but you and I figured out what we were going to do. And you want to kick it off?
Sure.
Okay. I mean, just to kind of preface this whole thing, what we're talking about is resilient animals, and what we kind of mean by that is like animals that, and this is going to include insects. If you don't know, animals are insects. But with this
I think we were thinking about any life on this planet.
yeah, but I mean, we
Yeah,
didn't end up talking about plants or fungi or anything.
I was just exactly.
So
yeah.
they're all animals. But what we mean is like animals that have been around for a long time or are just really hard to get rid of for one reason or another, or just are very survivable, have high survivability in weird environments and stuff like that. Is that do you agree with that? That was kind of our
Yes.
theme. Okay.
Yeah.
So resilient might not be the best overarching word, but it's kind of like a, intellectual word on that end of the spectrum, I guess. And resilient as fuck was kind of what I was going to go with, but I didn't want to type that out,
Right. Which I agreed with.
Yeah, I don't
that.
pretend to be family friendly, but I don't need to put the word fuck in the title.
in the
Exactly.
title. Exactly.
But yeah, so you want to kick it off with one of yours? Or should we?
I was thinking you were going to, but I don't care.
Yeah, I can kick it off, man.
Because I just, you know what it is, man. It's just we are by no means any experts, man. I just like
No,
to
dude.
bring up things that I find to be very interesting.
Yeah,
And
because
stuff that, like kind of it's like blows like I'm like what?
yeah.
You know?
Well, that's a cool thing is,
Um,
the stuff we're going to be mentioning is like stuff that you and I easily could sit together and watch a documentary on and pause every, 20 minutes
10,
and be like,
15
dude,
minutes.
blah,
Oh, yeah.
blah, 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 and go off,
Mhm. Right.
And these things specifically we're talking about are things we would come across anyway and probably bring up on the podcast as random.
As
just
a random
things.
anyway. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why it doesn't really make a difference because we're going to talk about stuff and it's
Yeah,
just,
we're going to go
gonna
off on
spread
tangents.
It
So,
is. It will.
all right, well, I will go ahead and start talking about the naked mole rat. And for those watching, I just popped up a little graphic of what a naked mole rat looks like. They are disgusting looking. They look like some sort of shriveled up, sort of like penis rodent thing. They are rodent. And one of the weirdest things about them, I think, is that all the things I'm going to talk about, and I think this is the only animal we're going to talk about tonight that this applies to, these are only one species. All the other things we're going to talk about, there's multiple species.
Really? Oh,
Naked
I
mole
didn't
rats are
know that.
one,
Are
yeah,
one
dude, they're one
inclusive?
singular species. And they're in their own genus too, I believe.
What?
I'm pretty sure they're also in their own genus.
How is that? Okay,
yeah,
go ahead,
dude, they're so unique.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I think it's fairly recent that they were their own species, but now they're like actually their own genus too, I'm pretty sure. How does that shit eat with those fangs? Great question. They chew. I think they don't actually eat with those. They just bite with them. The way they're, if you look closely at the picture there, I don't know how good your resolution is, but they really mainly dig with those fangs. Their feet are just for walking. They do most of the digging with their face, and what's really cool is their lips actually close behind those teeth, so the dirt doesn't get in their mouth. And then they eat with, they'll bite pieces off and chew inside their mouth. And I guess I can just, speaking of which, I can just get right into the crazy shit about the way that they eat and what they eat. They mainly just eat underground, and these are indigenous to somewhere in South America, by the way. I don't know specifically. I didn't.
I see. That was one of the things that I definitely did not even. That just goes to show you how we are very vague with the majority of things that we do talk about. Because I feel like I brought up a decent amount of stuff with the mole rat the other, and you just totally brought up stuff that I've never even known.
Yeah. So they eat two things. They literally only eat two things. One are underground tubers, like a root, or kind of a root thing that they live their entire lives under the ground in the total dark in tunnels. So they eat these specific kind of tubers that they find under the ground. and the tubers are like not super nutrient dense, but the way that they eat is like fucking mind blowing. One of the things they do, so they only eat the inside of the tubers. Like they'll eat through it, and they'll leave the outside like skin part, which allows the tuber to continue to regenerate itself, so they can be sustained off of one single root that they find for a long time. I don't know specifically how long, but I'm pretty sure it's like weeks or months. Because they eat it at a rate at which it'll continue to regenerate itself, because the thing that they found to eat, they didn't remove from the environment from which it naturally grows. It's still sitting underground, basically, where they found it in the exact same environment that it grew in. They just began eating it. So the plant doesn't even necessarily know. You know what I mean? It's like if we pull a carrot out of the ground, that carrot's done. It's not growing anymore. But if you just took little chunks off, dig in the dirt, dug a few chunks off of the carrot, closed it back up, that carrot would continue to grow. So that's basically what they're doing. But the crazy thing too is that these tubers are the amount of nutrients that are in them, the naked mole rats actually eat their own shit because they can reprocess the nutrients in there and get more nutrients out of it, because their metabolism is so slow that they can't like. Just the whole thing about the situation allows them to like just process stuff slowly and just eat their own shit and get more.
Not right. That's not right. That's crazy.
Hey man, and it doesn't bother them. It's what they do, dude.
No. I'm over the idea that they're eating their own food, dude. It's fertilizer. I understand.
What do you mean it's
that.
not right?
I don't care about that. I'm just talking about like it just doesn't seem right on the scale of animals to be able to do that and continue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, cows have four stomachs.
No. They
you know what I mean? So it's like
rechew. No. But I'm talking about. Well, you know what? No, because their metabolism. It's probably because their metabolism doesn't break things down to that extent.
Right.
That's what it is. That it's that weird. Okay.
And all this stuff. That's the thing, is all this stuff that I'm going to talk about them actually all ties together. So I can't talk about one thing without being led right into the next thing, because they're such a crazy animal that. So all right, let me look real quick here. So they eat their own shit, and they eat I didn't even write any of that stuff down that I just said, actually. But yeah, so their metabolism is so slow it causes them to eat in the way that they do, but also, what the fuck? Their metabolism allows them to sort of like go into hibernation, like kind of at will, more or less.
Okay.
So what they'll do is they'll do shit like, if they're in like a low oxygen environment, they can just kind of slow down their metabolism, meaning the rate at which their body uses up its chemical resources via oxygen or nutrients or whatever. And they can go 18 minutes without oxygen. Completely without oxygen.
Okay.
Around that time. And they don't actually have any cellular damage. And that is one of the main mysteries about them, how they avoid this cellular damage. And even further, they can so all right, the air we breathe is about I think it's about 28% oxygen, right? They can and I think the carbon dioxide is like maybe like 1% or something like that total. I don't know exactly, but it's very, very low. These animals can live in an environment that is 20% oxygen, which is almost like 30% less than what we kind of need, and the rest, like, can be 20% oxygen, and then the entire rest of the air can be completely carbon dioxide. Any other mammal would die instantly in this environment. They can breathe the air when it's 80% carbon dioxide. That is completely toxic to most forms of life. Yeah, most forms of oxygen breathing life, because the air becomes like acidic almost. Which leads me into like if the air in your room was suddenly 80% carbon dioxide, you're dead, like real quick. Okay. But even if you could manage to breathe that air, the carbon dioxide would build up in your system and make your body acidic, and it would burn, like you would be in pain. But the naked mole rats don't feel that because they're missing a neurotransmitter called substance P. And what substance P does is it creates pain pathways in a mammal. So if you feel pain, substance P is activated, and it allows you, it's like what makes you feel pain. And it also, I think, causes the itching sensation. So their lack of substance P means they don't feel any pain at all, even from this carbon dioxide potential acidity in their system, and they don't itch either. Like many rodents have a very sensitive, like itching kind of reflex. They don't have it at all. But what's interesting is if you inject them with substance P, they can feel some forms of pain. So if you give them capsaicin, which is the thing that makes peppers hot,
Okay.
which in other mammals it activates pain receptors
Yeah.
due to substance P again. If you give a naked mole rat substance P, it can feel pain from capsaicin, but it can't feel acidic burning pain.
Okay. You're using a bunch of big fucking words right now, dude.
Okay,
You're
well
throwing
stop me.
way-
Well stop
this
me.
is way too much information too fast. These
Okay.
animals don't feel pain. The only reason why I can
They
think
don't
if they're
feel
eating the
pain.
pepper, they basically don't feel pain. So even if their body reacts in a certain way, I'm gonna guess from the hot stuff in peppers, it's because of the way they're burrowing and peppers grow underground. Or no, peppers don't grow
Peppers
underground.
don't grow
Maybe the
underground.
roots and shit or something.
Well, here my suspicion is that they naturally have never come across capsaicin. I don't think they have any reason to feel any resistance
I
to
feel
capsaicin.
like these things. Holy crap! How long have these things been like around? Do we have any idea how many, like what
that
evolutionary
that
ideas?
I do not know.
I feel like this is the first. This has got to be the first. Probably the same existing rodent that could have been around forever.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe that honestly seems like the type of thing that could survive in the aspect of they're underground. You know what I mean? They could
Yeah.
be in. Oh, they could have been all over the place to the extent. You know, like
Yeah.
they're hidden from everything. There's no natural predators or anything like
well,
that.
I think
None
their
of
main
us-
predators are snakes. Some kind of
Okay.
like a burrowing snake.
Burrowing snake.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because these things stay underground though, correct?
They do not come up.
They
dude.
don't come up. That's why their
and-
skin
and-
is the color that it is. There's
And you
no
want to hear
movement, there's
something
no-
crazy? Their family structure, their social structure, is this very similar to that of like termites and ants and bees,
Such as like
in the sense that they have a queen, and the queen is the only female that can reproduce, and all the rest of the females are sterile and are workers that clean stuff up and feed the queen and stuff like that. The queen,
That's
well, the
funny.
queen has like
ants.
like ants, which
Like
let's talk
ants.
about ants next. But yeah, they have like an insect sort of social structure, which is bananas because they're a fucking mammal. But it must lend itself well to the entire underground kind of life. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know shit, but that's like insect, like termites and
A lot of
ants
underground,
live-
burrowers and stuff like that. That they do have a structural system like that.
They
You're
do,
right.
yeah. The queen, like the queen, the workers, that kind of shit.
Eosocial? Is it
You,
eusocial?
I think it's eusocial.
eusocial-
Yeah, eusocial.
eusocial?
Yep, that's correct. Yep.
Eusocial. Yes.
And
Yep.
then it's the same kind of thing where if the queen dies for whatever reason,
Somebody else comes up.
another female. Well, females, I guess, will like kind of battle it out to be the new queen, but they're sterile until that happens. And then when a new queen is kind of established, their spinal cords will actually elongate. They'll become bigger, and their body will change due to hormonal changes and stuff to be able to have the babies.
There's fish that do that, isn't there?
Probably.
There's certain type of fish that I remember they do that.
Yeah, because I know the bees do the same thing. The bees, the queen bee the egg is laid as the queen. They lay
Yeah.
a special egg that's the queen.
That's the queen. Yes,
Yeah.
it's another queen that's like next
Right.
in line. Or
But
something, right?
in the naked mole rats, just any other female that manages to battle to get the spot will become the queen. Johnny is spamming the chat right now with all kinds of weird emojis of like Pokemon and Bob Ross and Illuminati symbols and
What
an
an
octopus
asshole.
thing. Fucking
You're
asshole, dude.
joking. That's great.
He's
Good
one
for
of two
him. He's a
people
good
watching
guest.
right now.
Johnny's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. How about you put something constructive in there, Johnny, instead of trying to fucking distract me? He's just
Yeah,
trying to
right?
make the fucking feed look cool with all little pictures of Pokemon and shit.
Of course, good for him. Let him.
Fuck him, whatever.
Whatever. Hey, he's drumming up business. Good for him.
We asked for crowd
listen,
interaction.
speaking
This
of-
is what we fucking get, I guess.
Yeah, dude. So you were talking about queens and stuff like that. There's this group of ants. It's like one of the largest colonies of ants. Like
You'll
super
get your
colonies, dude.
turn, dude.
I'm not. I'm just interjecting with
I'm
some
just
information because
just
it's
playing.
pertinent to the queen idea.
I'm just playing.
These ants actually have like the females always like grow wings or something like that where they're able to fly off, and that's like the one time that they need the wings. The males do the same thing, but what happens sometimes if they breed and don't get back to the hive that they want to be a part of, they'll go in and go after this smaller type of ant and like parasitically become the queen of these other ants. And
That's
she needs to
bananas.
like slowly infiltrate the base because she wasn't accepted by a local colony or something like that of
But
one
it's
that
a
needed.
different species?
Dude, it's a different species, a much smaller one to her normal ones. It's a certain type of wood ant. It's a mountain ant, some kind of ant that I can't remember the freaking name of it. But it would go
What?
after a different species of wood ants in the same area because, dude, these are like these huge super colonies, Jake, and I'm talking mounds that are like 3 foot,
Jesus
5 foot
Christ.
high, and dude, it's unbelievable, dude. They're talking about these mounds that can have upwards of like 1,000,000 queens.
What?
Bro, it's insane. There'll be like half a billion ants on this one hive, and there'll be like 1,000,000 queens, and they're
What the
just,
fuck?
dude, it's nuts. But so she'll go in and actually infiltrate and become like a parasitic queen to this other species of ants.
Parasitic
By
how?
s-
Like just get food from them and shit, or what? Because they can't.
No,
breed
she'll go in
together,
and
right?
they'll start taking care of her babies that are going to be
Oh, so
her
she'll lay eggs
species
in
of ant.
there. Oh, so then
She
what,
like
she'll
goes
slowly
in,
take
yeah,
over the
dude,
whole
she honey
fucking
dicks
thing.
them. She honey dicks them.
Oh,
Well, she's already been dicked, but she
she's
convinces
been.
them that
Yeah,
she infiltrates it.
I think that counts as honey dicking.
I don't know. I don't
think
even know
it
what honey
does.
dick
I
means.
think
I've
it-
heard people use it, and
Well, I think you
thought
used it
that's
exactly right. If that tells you
Good.
anything about what it means.
perfect.
I
Perfect. She
think it's
convinces other people
when
to
you
be like,
get
"Yeah, I'll take
you
care
get
of this."
you get enticed with something that you think
Get
is going to be
enticed with it,
rewarding
yes.
for you, and it turns
Yep.
out to just serve the person that was trying to entice you.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a really wild thing about how she does it and everything like that because she'll actually slowly infiltrate by going up, and when the other ants approach her, like once they signal that she's there, they're gonna all attack her.
Right.
But what she'll do is she'll go up slow and like rub up on one of them, get a little bit of his scent, rub up on another, until she's slowly able to build up their scent and their pheromone
Oh,
or whatever and get into the. Oh, dude, it was wild.
that's hot. You're getting me worked
Queens.
up.
You get me worked up. Speaking of
Getting all
hot,
hot and bothered.
these same ants
Yeah.
will go out like they come out from these hives that are big, or not really. They're not really hives. They're mounds or whatever it is. Colonies.
Colonies.
Yeah, but it's all made with like pine needles. And the pine needles themselves with the ants that are inside become very, very warm. That's how they incubate everything. But then they'll come out like at spring and it's super cold in there after a long time because the heat is dissipated throughout winter.
Okay.
And they go and actually like become solar panels for the sun. They were doing tests with different heat radars and everything, or whatever you call them. What's the word I'm trying
Like
to look for?
infrared sensors.
Infrared, thank you.
Mhm.
And you could see all the cold ones coming out and all the warm ones going in to go and help Dude, it's an amazing
What?
thing.
So they
how
just
ants
soak up the heat, then go inside and radiate the heat.
go
and
inside like
rotate,
solar
rotate.
panels.
What?
Yeah, dude.
That's bananas, dude.
It is bananas. So anyway, we'll get back on that later.
Yeah. Anyway, let
You
me
go ahead.
I brought the ant up on the screen, so let me put the naked mole right back. I love that, dude.
I wish I could see it.
Well, I mean, if you put it on your phone, like you said. Oh, by the way, Joe Dodona asked, "Hey, what do you know about nearly invincible?" No, he said, "What do you know about nearly invincible water bears, aka the tardigrade?"
Tardigrade.
Joe, we're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there,
That's
Joe.
actually our co-topic.
Come on.
We'll get there.
Co-topic.
But good thinking.
Topic. Way to
that's-
be Dodona.
That's audience engagement if I've ever
Fantastic.
seen it.
That's what I'm talking
See,
about.
see, Johnny, you got the Pokemon fucking pictures. This guy's actually contributing.
Yep.
Anyway,
Absolutely.
we're
Yeah,
not
so
going to
we
be
will
talking
get
about
to that.
Pokemon.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't have a whole lot more on them, but actually, well, yeah, I guess I kind of do. So I was talking about the how there's like a queen and all that. So yeah. Anyway, I talked about the pain. The acid buildup. So check this out. I know this is one of the things you and I talked about, but I'll bring it up again just so this can be a standalone episode. I know one of the things you brought up was you said that, I know I've heard you say this, that in humans after age 30, our mortality rate doubles every 8 years.
Every 8
years.
It was
It's
8 years.
8
yes.
years, right?
Once we turn
And that's
30,
actually common. Apparently, that's common for all mammals once they reach adulthood. Once they reach sexual maturity, every 8 years, every mammal, their mortality rate decreases, meaning they're twice as likely to die due to various circumstances.
Yes.
Every 8 years.
Yeah. Which is mind blowing. Is it? You know what? And
It's
say
crazy
dog
they
years.
even figure out a number to that.
How could you figure that out? Then why am I 30?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I'm turning 34. No, dude, you're actually not. Right? I mean,
the age is revolutions around the sun. So I think they're topic for another day.
Topic for another day.
But okay, so
that'll be on the celestial episode.
The point that'll be on
titled "Us in the Stars."
That'll be on our astrology episode.
Brought to you by Neil deGrasse Tyson, the super genius.
Anyways, so naked mole rats, their mortality rate does not increase at all throughout their life.
Yes, I do remember this.
It doesn't increase.
Essentially immortal.
That's and I think the people that study them don't want to say that because. Oh, hey Rob, what's up? Rob's on. They don't want to say that because that's like a pretty wild thing to say. But there are species that are. There's like a jellyfish that they claim I think is immortal, but the naked mole rat, they don't want to say that. But they apparently their DNA, their cells are so good at replicating their DNA when their cells divide, that they just don't have the cell DNA degradation that other mammals have as they age. So you and I, as our cells divide, they're dividing all the time. Each time it's like a little bit worse. Your cells just don't do as good of a job each time. And it's just enough that by the time you're like 80, 90 years old, your body's just fucking falling apart. And a female naked mole rat that is like pretty much just reached sexual maturity at like 6 months old looks physiologically almost identical to like a 25-year-old female naked mole rat. And they both have equal fertility as well, which is bananas. So one at the total, they can breed indefinitely. We don't.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think what studies have shown that they can get like upwards of 30 years. I don't know their maximum lifespan, but that's the figure I kept coming across. But yeah, the fact that at the very end of their quote unquote estimated lifespan, they have the females have the same fertility as just right when they reach sexual maturity is completely unheard of for mammals. Completely unheard of. And
what do you think?
What?
I'm like, what is it? Is it just because like why would that be? What do you think is like the main contributing factor to that?
Well, okay. So
like think about what
there's probably a lot of factors. It probably has to do with their slow metabolism. It probably has to do with the fact it might have something to do with the fact that they're in high carbon dioxide environments a lot of the time. They don't get a lot of air circulation through their dens. There could be all these compounding factors that all kind of tie together to create these weird circumstances
that just made their like all their organs and all their like their flesh, their everything just became extremely resilient.
So check this out. So I'm sure you've heard that naked mole rats don't get cancer.
Yes.
Right.
I did that. Yes.
So I think part of the reason for that is the fact that their cells are so good at duplicating their DNA when their cells divide without error. Because the way I understand it is that tumors are when cells don't divide properly and they divide out of control and shit like that. The DNA gets fucked up, so they either glob together or they just over replicate or something like that. But they have this substance in their body. All mammals have this substance called hyaluronan or something like that. It's like a sugar. Don't say it. Don't say it.
What?
I don't know what you were gonna say.
Oh, you just didn't want me to cut you off?
I just don't want you to make a bad joke in the middle of me about.
It wasn't going to be a bad joke. It just made me think of my wife.
Yeah.
It just made you tie, Lauren.
Oh, okay. Um. So yeah. So all mammals have the substance in their body, but the naked mole rat has it in their body in a much higher quantity in the
Than
actual
anything else.
and than any other mammal, and the molecules themselves are like 5 times bigger. And this in our bodies, it's like what helps like lubricate our joints and shit like that. It just exists in like all different parts of our body, like in between tissue and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But in theirs, it's bigger and there's more of it, and even furthermore, the enzyme that's in our bodies that helps break it down to like kind of cycle through it, they don't have it, or their enzyme is in a much lower concentration, and this affects them on a cellular level somehow that keeps their cells from globbing together in the way that is necessary to make a tumor. So they have like all these crazy things going on with their physiology that all kind of tie together, to make them like these hyper fertile, like virulent animals that don't they just fit into no category basically.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah, they're a mammal, but they have all these insect
there are all these
properties,
other different things,
and they have all these things about them that make them a mammal, but also these other things that are kind of like, so it's like they're almost like, it's like the platypus kind of thing, you know what I mean? Where they're like, what the
they're
fuck
laying
are
eggs,
they
a
really?
mammal that lays eggs with a bill.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's I think that's about all I got for them.
Crazy, dude. A platypus is crazy.
Yeah, I was watching a thing about them the other day. I was watching an episode of Natural Curiosities on Netflix with David Attenborough, and it was an episode two parts, and one part was about the naked mole rat, the other part was about platypus or platypi, I don't know. And it was crazy because they confused the fuck out of everyone the first time these animals were found. They didn't know what the hell they were. Well, the naked mole rat they thought was just some kind of, they didn't think it was special at all until somebody was like, let's take a closer look at these.
Well,
and then discovered that they're so fucking strict. Well, they had specimens like in museums and stuff, but they were like, yeah, it's just a naked rat, whatever. But the more they studied them, the more bizarre they became. But as opposed to the platypus, that right off the bat, people were like, this isn't even real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like one that was so obviously special they couldn't even quite figure out what to do with it, and the other one that seemed so like ordinary that they didn't bother to figure out why. They didn't even think it was special.
What it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, dude, like panda bears. Panda bears were mythical.
Yeah, right. Yeah, until
like
the one of Roosevelt's sons, one of Teddy Roosevelt's sons,
Tony
went
Roosevelt's
to China.
son. Like, they were like going after this mythical creature that.
Did you say Tony Roosevelt?
What? It's Herbie Hancock.
Herbie
Hancock.
Okay.
I might have.
Yeah, President Tony Roosevelt, the best one.
Tony Berardino, he's coming down. Looking for the Sanguardo sandwiches.
So that's naked mole rats, folks. That's about all I know.
Dude, that's insane. You should have totally let me go first. I'm going to tell you what.
You got to top that.
It's just getting tossed right into the gutter. Because one of these things.
What? You had two things though to talk about.
I got to be honest, dude. I really just feel like I need to talk about ants, and I did more looking up on the old moss pigs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, but you want to talk about coyotes too? You're not going to talk about coyotes?
I wanted to talk about coyotes. All right,
we'll
talk about coyotes.
We'll talk about coyotes briefly. Let's do that.
I'm talking about coyotes.
I got a graphic for coyotes. You got to talk about them.
Oh, that's exactly where my brain just said to myself. I'm like, obviously, I got to talk about coyotes. Let's have a graphic.
Oh, real quick, hold on. Before we go further, any last-minute questions from the viewers about naked mole rats? Just to throw it out there. Anybody?
Johnny, Pikachu is not a question.
Pikachu is not a question. So I don't know how much of a delay we're on, but you can just go ahead. I think we're good. I don't think anybody has some questions.
I totally brought up all the wrong pages and everything like that. Yeah, coyotes, we just can't kill them, dude. There's just such a resilient animal in the aspect that they just don't seem to want to go away.
Yeah.
With all of the effort from human beings to be like, all right, we're going to take this thing out. Think about how we took out the buffalo by accident.
Yeah.
Just think about that that thing where people were just really overkilling these animals and stuff like that, but they just disappeared. They say that the woolly mammoth was hunted off. The extinction of the woolly mammoth was
That's a
hunted
conversation
off.
for another
So
day, but
it's
I don't
not though,
believe
because
that.
I'm using it as an example of
Okay.
of the aspect of
Well, you're
a
talking about
huge-
animals that live out in the open, in plains and fields and shit. Coyotes are hiding. They hide. They're not hanging out in the open. They're nocturnal.
Yeah, all right.
They're
all
harder
right,
to get
all
in the
right.
first place.
Whatever. I'm just saying. We kill things by accident. Human beings take things out by accident.
Right.
All of a sudden they're just devastated, and because we use this certain, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
We kill things like that. But when we actually were like, it's time to take out the coyotes,
Mm-hmm.
they boomed.
Yeah.
They've
did.
just expanded. They were never here.
What do you
until
think? It was like a couple hundred years ago that started when we were like.
I would say it was probably a couple hundred. Yeah, because it was livestock when people were doing farming and everything like that way out
And the
west.
coyotes are like, "Word, you're just gonna keep all these sheep
You're
in a
just gonna- all
cage?
these- we're gonna
Thanks,
eat-
asshole."
Thank you. Yeah. I know I had specific facts. I got to be honest. I think I literally lost my page that I was going to be with information I had, because there's just so much stuff about them I can talk about, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I really didn't hone in on anything specific
Well,
because I'm just thinking about it in the aspect of a bridge to another subject. But go ahead.
all right. Well, I guess I'll just mention one of the things I know about them. One of the crazy things about them is, I don't know if this is speculation or not, because I've heard people say stuff against it, but supposedly, when you kill coyotes, like when you hear them yipping at night,
Yeah. Roll call.
supposedly that's like a roll call. And
Oh.
if you kill a bunch of coyotes and they're not participating in that roll call anymore, a hormonal change happens in the females that causes them to produce increased litter sizes that overcompensate for how many yips are
Coyotes
missing
are
from
in
the
the
roll
pack.
call.
Yes.
Yeah. So by killing coyotes, you actually increase the numbers, is
Yes.
what I understand.
Yes, that's exactly one of the things that actually piqued my interest into the entire subject of coyotes. Because of that, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me."
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's yeah. That's one of the things that piqued my interest. Honestly, dude, I did. I lost an entire page of stuff.
What happened?
I don't know. I lost it. I must have ripped it off and it fell off somewhere.
Well, that's okay. But I mean, it goes to one of those, they're one of those kind of animals that can eat all kinds of different food, right?
Yeah, they actually are
Omnivorous.
they're omnivorous. Yeah, they're omnivorous. They'll actually eat grasses and plants and stuff like that too.
And they'll eat like
for,
small
food sources.
rodents and they'll
Yeah.
scavenge.
Well, that
and
was one of the
kinda
things
whatever.
too that people argued about, is because they wanted to take them out because they were going after sheep and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, there weren't any rodents and pests around the area as much either. They'll eat bugs and stuff like that. So
Right.
because of that, it was like that good and bad for farmers, because
Sure,
you don't want to
sure.
take out your livestock and everything like that. But at the same time, it was kind of pest control,
Right.
you know. But
Now,
I mean,
and
dude,
they're they're pretty much all over North America now, right?
they're everywhere, dude. They're all over North America. They're mostly only in North America and Canada, though, I believe. There's
Yeah, but
different
they're
types
in Mexico for sure.
They're in Mexico.
They're
Yeah, but I'm
absolutely in
all right.
Mexico.
The Americas.
Well, yeah, North America's Mexico. Yeah, so
I also was talking to a friend of mine that was a trapper for a while, and he was like, Joe, he said we would put two-foot spikes into the ground
Mhm.
and connect our traps to and everything like that, especially because they were like killing his animals and stuff.
Mhm.
He says their pounds per square inch on their one rear leg is like 1,200 pounds. That's how strong they are. He said they would pull out pounds per square inch, and that's how strong their muscles can be. He
that's
said
how
they were
much
pulling-
like when they push with all their might against
Yeah.
an immovable force. That's the kind of force they can.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
gotcha.
the kind of force that they can exert. He says, dude, I was hammering it, ting, 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 busting them into the ground, and these dogs were pulling them out, taking off on my traps, losing my traps.
Oh, so they would get one trapped,
They would get a trap,
and the coyote
then-
would be like, "I'm not staying here. You might have
Dude, I
got me. This thing might be attached to me, but I'm still leaving."
I'm leaving. I'm out.
Okay.
They'll
Wow.
chew off their paws. I saw one that was actually in my backyard. I have a video of it on my phone. It was limping in the backyard. Its front paw was definitely mangled from a trap or something.
Whoa.
And it was just, dude. I mean, it was haggard.
It was just
And
chilling.
the thing was just going, hopping along, 3-footing it. No
Yeah.
problem at all. I can
Dude,
actually.
animals are crazy like that, man. It's like I was like, sometimes me and Jessica will go to like the local animal shelters just to give some love to the animals that, haven't been adopted yet and stuff like that. And one time we go in there and a dog was maybe, if I had to guess, maybe like 3 weeks looking at the wound from getting one of its rear legs amputated.
Really?
Yeah, you could still see where the stitches were, and it was just sitting there kind of like, and it would move you could tell that it was not like used to it yet.
Right.
And
right.
part of it was just so sad because like this animal probably doesn't understand at all what is going on. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't know like if that happened in the wild where it was amputated, if that happened in the wild for sure would have bled out and died 100%.
Really? Right.
You know what I mean? So they don't evolutionarily, they don't have the processing to understand like I'm going to be okay. Like this is, you know what I mean? This is our like but at the same time, probably if I had to guess 2-3 weeks, maybe a month into getting up, that wound being healed and getting up and dealing with it,
They're fine.
he's not even going to consider it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have 3 legs. So what you know what I mean? It's crazy the way animals are like that, man. Especially cats too. Cats with only 3 legs, fuck it, dude. They don't care at all. They do all the same
I
shit.
saw that one dog. Did you see that dog that was born without front paws? And it learned to walk around.
Or when people, or they take that same dog, who like totally, totally has adapted and whatever, and they just put a harness on its front end with wheels on it, and the dog's like sweet and just takes off with the wheels like no problem. Sweet, I can run again.
Sweet. Oh my god.
Did you ever see that video of the turtle?
Can I have a cookie? Can I have 10 cookies? Can I have 20 cookies?
Do you ever see that video of the turtle? Somebody had like a tortoise or a turtle or something that it's like something was wrong with it where it couldn't support its own weight on its legs for some reason. So they just like attached a toy skateboard to its like stomach, so it didn't have to support its weight. All it had to do was propel itself with its legs, and it was just no problem.
See ya. Go on.
Animals are so adaptable, man. It's like sometimes I just feel it's crazy the shit that gets humans hung up. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like we're so inferior in some ways that like just somebody can look at you the wrong way and it just fucks your whole day up. You know what I mean? Versus like an animal that like gets his paw caught in a trap and it's like, all right, well, where's the food? Because I still got to eat, and like that's whatever. Like,
Joe, Jake, if we go sit out in the sun on the wrong beach for an hour and a half longer than we should, we're fucking shot.
You're like in a hospital, dude. Yeah,
laying in bed, dude. I mean,
covered in blisters and shit.
It's like, yeah, dude, come on, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, at least fair-skinned people like us. You know what I mean?
Right,
But it's like, it's the truth, dude. Like, there's no resilience. It's like, I say stuff like that all the time, man. It's like, we're not made for this planet. We shouldn't be here.
We're not made for survivability in the elements.
Well, that's the thing.
We're made for building shit. I was thinking about a funny thing today, man. It's like, I was watching the dog just sniff the ground. I was taking her outside to walk, and she could fucking just sniff. She'd either be, if she was outside all the time, she'd either be laying down sleeping or chasing something or sniffing the ground. Like she's either unconscious or occupied completely. And I wonder if the like when we started to get bigger brains through our evolution, I wonder if the kind of phenomenon occurred where like, I wonder if some of the shit we started to develop, like what if technology just kind of came out of boredom? Of like the fact that you have a larger brain, therefore monotonous stuff might not really occupy. Like if it's easier for you to find food, therefore you have more time. What are you gonna do with that time? Just bang a couple rocks together. One of them gets sharp. You're like, oh shit! You cut your hand. You're like, oh, cut my hand. Maybe you can cut an animal's throat, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but you know
it's
what?
crazy
To
think about how that
to be at that point, like,
But my point is just that all that stuff must just snowball and snowball and snowball and snowball and snowball to the point where like we have the fact that you're 800 miles away from me, right? You know what I mean? Like,
right. Well, this is the other side of that too, though, Jake. Because you think about, like, this is one of the things I'm always thinking about. Is like when you're doing a project that you've never done before, you've decided that you're going to do something, and for me, it's like you're going to build something, or you're going to work on something that you need to set up. You've never done this before. Okay. Even though, people have been figuring out problem-solving skills for a very long time, but you as an individual still get through that task.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, guaranteed, you're like, dude, I can do that a dozen times in a row, no problem now.
Yeah.
Even if you do it from scratch. No, I'm not talking about putting a table together that came in a box. I'm talking about legit building something and figuring something. As you're doing it, you're problem solving the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as individuals, we have the ability to do that so fast. But as a society too, it's everything.
like
It's
it's
just
exponential. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's just so it blows my mind how we do stuff like that. But then at the same time, dude, if I go hiking in a spot at the wrong time, something with teeth and claws is going to eat me
Right.
still.
And you have literally no weapons built onto your
Nothing
body.
to do.
None. Your
but
teeth
to
are not
like,
sharp. You don't have claws. Your muscles
nope.
are weak compared to every other mammal.
Yes.
Your
My
reflexes
best.
are
Yeah.
slow compared to every other animal.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to climb trees as fast. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna be able to jump over rocks as fast.
Yep.
It blows my mind, dude. And these animals are underground right now, immune to cancer, and can breed forever.
Forever. Yeah. Yep.
Forever. It's insane. It's absolutely insane, dude. But that was one of the dude. It's like the thing with those queens breeding like that, dude.
Yeah.
Those ants. It was blowing my mind, man. Absolutely astounded me how they would go into another place and just like, all right, nope, this you're gonna be your species is gonna become this species. My species is just gonna destroy you and take you over and everything like that. But they're also working with a bigger organism. She would create that and do that, dude, and make that hive become part of a whole nother super colony. And it's like this huge
That's crazy.
thing that all decides to work together. Dude, imagine if human beings worked together as well as ants. Imagine if you had 100 million people
Yeah, I guess the question is
all
to what
doing
goal?
the same. Well, that's
To
the
what
thing.
goal?
I don't know.
Because that's the thing is like, when do you decide that we have our shit together enough to actually do that and decide what would be the best thing to do with that energy?
Sustainable energy, right?
Because
Now
if we had the ability to
our-
collab like that 100 years ago, we for sure would have just decimated all life on the planet by accident. Because we'd be like, oh, we just need to build the biggest coal factory that we could possibly make and pump. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, but I mean, but essentially, Jake, that has happened. But in the time of us doing those types of things, we've realized that this isn't good for us. It's because of the longevity it takes for all these things to occur.
yeah.
With our ability to do it, it does. It takes too long.
I want to comment real quick. I see in the chat, Joe says the elevated thinking that humans have comes from the need to compensate for our inferiorities, just like nukes and guns. It's about power and survivability. I agree with that, and I think the way that I would springboard off of that kind of is that if you yes, on the individual level, we're kind of helpless. But as a whole, we develop these technologies that allow the human race overall to survive.
So if you think about it, the super
forward.
organism that human beings are, where we're at now with the nukes and the guns, Joe, is that you got to think about it. That's to really, quote, be looking out for everybody else.
Yeah.
Because you don't want inhumane things going on. Inhumane human beings, we all should have the same kind of idealisms and morals and everything like that. So when you look at it like that, we are a super organism on this planet.
Yeah, the trick is to be in the mentality of to plant the trees that in 2 generations they can enjoy the fruits of.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's just tough because our monkey brain wants immediate gratification for everything, but our human brain, there's always that battle going on between immediate gratification and prolonged gratification.
Yes.
You know, and it's hard enough to do something that you're going to get gratification from in 10 years, let alone in 2 generations.
2 generations. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Forget about your children's children. Like, it's so hard to think about, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude.
And forget about someone else's children's children.
Well, yeah.
That's even further removed.
2, 3, 4 What do you think? 4 generations ago from my age right now? So 5, 6 generations ago, cars didn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't at all. And now, everything's built. Yeah.
Everything.
Now cities have to. It's crazy because it's like there are cities you can go to right now where it's very obvious they were built before cars didn't exist. Very obvious.
Oh yeah.
And now it's like you can't disregard that at all.
It's gonna make me puke.
Under 100 years, things become a part of society to the point where you literally have to consider them in everything you do.
Yeah.
Bananas.
Ugh.
So you want to go on to ants? Speaking of hyper colonies and hive minds and shit.
I don't even know if I want to go into ants now. Now I feel like we've sprungboard into the resilient animal of human beings.
Well, that comes up in every conversation you and I have. So.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
You know.
Yeah, I try to do as much as I could on ants, dude. It's ridiculous because I really just paid attention to that one super colony of mountain ants.
Oh, okay.
That was pretty much my main goal. It was wild to think about how they do have different types of battles and everything like that, but they don't share the same parents.
Mm.
A lot of colonies and stuff like that, like they have the same parent. They have like that one queen, the one queen that gives birth to all of them. And like you said with bees, where the one queen is the thing that gives birth to that one other queen that's
Mhm.
next in line, these super colonies have like millions of queens.
That's crazy.
And because of the breeding process, they're
but they're
interbreeding
not.
with each other and
So
stuff like that. But
geographically? I don't know if you know the answer to this, but geographically, what are these super colonies like? Where are they at?
I don't.
It's
I
not
mean,
one. It's not like one mound
not
next
one
to your
mound,
house
dude,
that has a
it's-
million queens. It's like miles and miles.
of mounds,
Of
dude.
a s-
There are
yeah.
these tons of these mounds. So it's well, listen. This is the other aspect too, dude. Is they were talking the numbers of ants in these certain half a billion ants in certain of these colonies and everything like that. But you got to, half a billion. But they can probably fit in, a very small area in ratio to what we're thinking of a half a billion people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But they have all these other queens, or all the multitude of queens. So when they're breeding, they're not related to each other, but they're all working together.
Yeah.
And they say that
Because that doesn't
scientists-
matter. Yeah.
Yeah, it usually doesn't work like that though. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
But if you think about a family unit of people, hi cat.
Funky.
If you think about a family unit of people, they usually tend to work together better. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But at this, yeah, it was just
Well,
pretty
yeah. It
wild.
depends on what they're working toward, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else. I don't really. There's too many things about ants. I don't remember any of this crap I had. I really don't, dude. I don't. Ants definitely. They believe that ants have 15 to 25% of the biomass on the planet.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy because
That's
they're
fucking
like
crazy, dude.
so small.
Yes, they're extremely tiny. So if you think about that, like that's like the grain of sand to the stars ratio kind of thing.
Mhm.
Like what?
Mm-hmm.
What? They outnumber us by like billions, like hundreds of
Yeah, as
millions.
individuals, yes, hundreds of billions.
Yeah,
but
hundreds
even,
of billions.
But even so, their biomass outnumbers us like 100 to 1.
That's what's insane too.
Mhm.
So think about that. Like all those ants to just be able to form you, and then everybody else on the planet, and then add a bunch more.
And then add like a bunch, just like a bunch more. 1, 2, 3, yeah, like a bunch, dude.
Yeah, a bunch.
At least like 4 or 5.
At least minimum.
Yeah.
I would say maybe 10 or more. Dude,
Joe
they've been
says,
around
Joe says there's an ant on my screen. Yes, sir, there is. Don't freak out. It's okay. It's
So they
all
also
part of the
think that
simulation.
ants evolved from like a wasp.
Oh, Justin,
ancestor?
sorry, Justin, that was Justin, my bad.
Oh.
So ants
think-
all evolved from a similar wasp type. Yeah, so that's something interesting to
Back-
mention that Milo, can you
Wasps
stop
are
hitting
closely related to
ants?
ants.
Right.
Yes. They're not close to bees.
Not at
They're
all.
totally different.
Yep.
Yes.
Totally
Yeah.
different animal.
So, wow, I just thought about that. A yellow-faced or a white-faced hornet is probably similar to like a bullet ant.
Yeah, for sure.
Think about the
A
pain
bullet
that
ant's-
those things bring to you.
Yeah, because wasps don't sting, right? They just bite.
I think they can sting you too. I don't know. I'm not
I don't-
sure. If anybody knows, I don't know if I think
Anybody
wasps
watching, Google
and bite.
do wasps sting or bite and let
I
us
think
know.
they do both, dude. I'm almost positive they do both.
You could be right, but there aren't any stinging ants, are there? There's just biting ants. Miley, you gotta stop hitting the microphone, buddy.
No, the ants will actually during these dude, these different mounds will have battles against each other.
Uh-huh.
And what they'll do is they'll all go at it fighting, and it can take like weeks for one of these battles to go on between
Whoa.
like adverse colonies and stuff. And at first they go up to each other and they're kind of like cool about it, but they're just kind of
Okay.
like rubbing antennas, and all of a sudden they're like, "You're not on my team." They realize it, dude, and they go at it. So what happens?
They're like,
is,
wow, you smell kind of funny. What are you from around here? No, I'm not
You
funny.
don't
From
get
around. Oh shit. Joe looked it up, I guess. He said wasps can sting, and they can sting more than once. As opposed to a honeybee, they sting you, and it rips out their guts
Their
when they
guts.
leave. Kind of a shitty evolutionary trait, isn't it?
No, it makes you really commit, dude. think about if human beings, if they knew they killed somebody, they instantly
Like if you were
die.
gonna if you were in the street in an argument and you decide you want to punch that guy in the face,
And
but
you
you would
die
die.
afterwards.
But you would die afterward.
Imagine how different this planet
How
would
bad do you really want to punch him in the face?
be. Right? Wow, that's crazy. What a thing to think
And
about.
you know you're not. It's like about the same thing because you know you're not gonna kill the guy. Because I don't think bees necessarily kill anything by stinging it. They're not a
Well,
predator.
Not us. They don't kill. Well, they not all of us.
They're not a Well, yeah, but that's a weird genetic quirk, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, they're not intending to ever kill anything by stinging it. So they're risking their life for the greater good of the hive, to protect the hive, to just be like, hey, get out of here.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm dead.
I done told you. So yeah, so they evolved from wasps, right?
Yeah.
Dude, in the Cretaceous period.
Cretaceous.
Like
Hold on.
Cretaceous,
So you're saying that wasps were first evolutionarily?
That's what I've read. That's what I saw.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's what I found.
Interesting.
They
Go on.
also know that we like they think, this is estimated, that we've only really identified like half of the species that we believe exist
ants.
on the planet. We've only identified a little over half.
And how many species are there?
They're estimating over 20,000.
So
And we've done like 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think now, I guess that begs the follow-up question: how do you even fucking say that? How do you say,
How
like,
do we
we
know? How do
think
we
there
know that
might
there's more
be
stars
yeah
in
we think
space
there
than
might be
breeding?
like 80% more than what we've already found, and it must be the rate at which they're continuing to discover new ones,
continuously
and they're just
finding them?
projecting those
Well, think
numbers.
about it, dude. 12,000 different types.
Well, just think about this, dude. How often do you think people just come across shit that is not cataloged in the scientific,
At all.
literature,
Yeah.
and they just don't fucking know? They're like, oh, that kind of looks like that thing. What I mean? How often do you think regular people see something that is not in the scientific knowledge,
Yeah.
and just dismiss it, or don't even think about it at all? You
Think
and
about-
I might have come across a dozen each ant species
Mhm.
and not had a second thought about. I wonder if this is in the encyclopedia if I look it up.
Well, Jake, think about all the stuff that we just talked about a mole rat, and the scientists that discovered that thing didn't dive any deeper.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because of something like that, they wouldn't even. Why? If you're not going to look into it, how are you going to know? And if you're not specifically,
Joe says using phylogenies trees, you can detect gaps in evolution, so that's how they estimate. Oh, I totally understand what you just said. Thank you so much, Joe. I
off
totally
of trees, probably talking about trees.
using phylogenetic trees, you can detect gaps in evolution, so that's how they estimate. I don't really know what that means.
Yeah. I'm not
It
sure what
sounds
that
good.
means.
It sounds right.
Yeah.
Using
Damn,
phylogenetic
we
trees.
got to get Joe on this podcast.
It sounds like it.
Sounds like you
sounds
need
like-
Joe on this podcast.
Sounds like his gears are turning.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic.
Ooh, my internet.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
My stream's dropping in quality. Sorry, everybody watching. I can see the stream dropping. Anyway, I think-
Johnny's building some kind of weird emoji-shaped Pikachu.
yeah, a mega
A mega emoji.
a Voltron emoji
Yeah.
made up of smaller emojis. Okay, we're back in clear. Okay. So yeah, so that's ants.
Yeah, I really, dude. It's all animals just blow my mind.
They fucking do, man.
They
I think
really do, man.
can-
But how are you gonna sit there? Like, you think about that, dude. 12,000 plus species identified. 12,000 different species.
That's fucking.
And this is
bananas.
my other thing too, dude. Do they? 12,000 different species? That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Mhm.
Don't you think that's
I don't even-
ridiculous?
That is
How many different
ridiculous.
types of birds do you think there are?
Probably more than that.
You think so? I
Yeah.
don't think that there's more.
Hey, Joe, tell us please how many species of birds are known.
Species of birds that there are.
Species of birds.
Because what? There's
please.
over 300 different species of sharks that we know of.
Dude, birds are like some of the most diverse organisms on the planet.
Yeah.
Don't forget they came from dinosaurs.
Agreed.
And they've ended up on all these different continents to fit all these ecological niches, dude. They're even in the Antarctic, which there's very
Right.
few species in the Arctic, dude.
Right. Yes, you're absolutely right. Then, think about it. Yeah, but dude, all right, are there any primarily all aquatic birds?
Penguins.
penguins are completely aquatic?
No,
They're not.
no,
There's
but
no
they're
bird
probably
that
the
stays
most
in the
aquatic
water
birds.
always.
They're probably there are no water-breathing birds, if that's what you're asking.
I'm not asking if there's water-breathing birds. I'm just wondering
Like a
if
duck,
they
between 9 and 10,000, he says. So that's pretty close.
9 and 10,000. Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay, that kind of puts things in
Thank you, Joe.
perspective. Thank you, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably aquatic, probably ducks and like herons and stuff like that, like stuff that just spend all day on. I guess penguins only go in the water when they're hunting.
Yeah, they always.
Otherwise, they're on land.
Birds always find land. Birds are always on land at some point.
Yeah, that's true.
What would you know what I mean? Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, because they all lay their eggs on land. None of them lay their eggs in the water.
Right.
Oh man, we gotta do a crazy bird episode. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Birds are fucking fascinating, dude.
Well, you know what's funny is I just realized something as I'm sitting there. I'm like 12,000. That's insane. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, birds. You know how many birds? Dude, there's over 1,000 different species of tardigrades.
And here we go.
Like I just
Let me
realized
get the graphic
that.
up.
Like I forgot that was
shit.
one of the things that I was
tardigrade.
talking about, or that was one of the things I was like, oh wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know? And obviously, folks, this is all stuff that we've looked up on the internet, different,
I don't know if that needs to be
books
said.
and all that crap.
Yeah, this is not. Well, some of the I think the coyote stuff is the only stuff I pulled out of my head.
Yeah.
Because Joe Rogan
you know what?
talks about coyotes
I didn't have any
incessantly.
paper.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
didn't.
also
We
all
could
stuff
talk about
I read.
tardigrades, but I still have one thing I need to talk about.
What?
Cockroaches.
Oh God, that's right.
Cockroaches. Dude. But we'll do
What
tardigrades
is
first.
Is it? Wait a
What?
minute.
What's your question?
I thought we needed to do the ad by 9, but I could be wrong.
I think that was on the copy. I think that was on the copy. Yeah, I think it was. Hold on, let me just get it. Yeah, so folks, we have a new sponsor this week. But so I just have to kind of go through. They don't want me to just kind of spill the beans right away. I kind of have to run through kind of a scenario, basically, to bit of an advertisement, if you will. So Joe will kind of play the part of the unknowing party.
I don't know what it is. So you need to tell me.
Okay. So I'm just gonna run you through a couple scenarios. One scenario, you have jury duty. You go to jury duty. You sit down. You're stuck there. You're not going anywhere. And an older gentleman sits next to you, and you make a comment to him. Man, this is taking a long time. And he says, why you think this is taking a long time? I went to my grandson's spelling bee the other day, and I got there 3 hours early. And immediately, fuck, I should not have spoken to this person. Next scenario, you're in line at the grocery store, and there's people behind you, there's people in front of you, and the person at the checkout, they froze the fucking credit card machine. You're going to be there for a minute. The lady behind you says, wow, your earlobes look exactly like my grandson. Let me show you this picture. And she takes out her cell phone, and you're fucking trapped. You're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere.
Both of these scenarios, would you agree that you look around, you check, you're at a dearth of fucks to give.
A dearth?
Yeah.
A dearth
You have no fucks to give about what this person's saying.
Dearth?
A dearth means a gap, a lack of. Where you're looking for some, there is none. You have no fucks to give in these situations.
I have a gap of fucks to give.
Yeah. I ran out. I haven't gotten any yet. And you are interacting with me when I have no fucks to give.
No fucks to give.
Right.
Okay.
Our newest sponsor for this week is a company called Spare Fucks.
No way. Oh my God, dude.
Yep.
I've been waiting for something like this to come out.
So what their product is, it's a little tin. It's a little tin similar to like Altoids or something. Not sponsored by Altoids, but it's a similar kind of tin. You just kind of keep it with you. And these scenarios occur in which you understand that you're not going anywhere. It would be better for both parties involved if you just had a fuck to give. If you could just give a fuck about what this person was saying to you, you could interact with them. They could get some from it. It would just be an overall better situation. You pop one of these spare fucks, and suddenly you care about this lady's grandson's earlobes and the picture she's about to show you on her phone.
Are there side effects to zero fucks to give?
Yes. A little bit of anal leakage.
What
Just a
about
little
caring?
bit.
Do you ever have like slight caring?
Like a lasting kind of giving
A lasting caring?
like about just things in general, or about like what old
Senses of
ladies say,
euphoria?
and a little bit of euphoria because it makes you actually give a shit, so you
Right.
start enjoying yourself in the situation immediately.
Oh wow.
But the only negative side effect really is about 12 hours later your butt leaks a little, just a little bit.
but that's
Yeah.
common in pretty much anything that we do nowadays as humans. But let me
Yeah.
ask you this:
Sure.
Is it possible that they could have called this canaphiles?
Canaphiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Like all of a sudden you catch a can of feels, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what? I'll pass that along to my contact at Spare Fucks.
I would, by all means, dude. If they're not, if the launch hasn't occurred yet,
It has.
well,
it has.
you know what?
It's on the
Packaging
market.
Packaging exists.
Yeah,
It's done.
yeah.
It's done.
Hey
I'm
man,
gonna
just
come out with
trademark
my
that
own.
yourself.
I'm gonna have
But
my
anyway,
chemist, I'm gonna have
anyways,
my chemist break this
Spare
stuff down.
sparefucks.com. Sparefucks.com. Put in this offer code Super Cereal. You get your first tin of Spare Fucks for free, and if you don't like them, you get your money back. So you really can't lose.
Spare fucks.
Something that just popped into my head though is if you take one of these Spare Fucks, like when you're just trying to think about like if you're happy about your purchase, does that make you suddenly happy with your
Suddenly-
purchase? And then
I think I
don't
already
know.
have buyer's remorse.
and you haven't even bought it yet.
I haven't even bought it yet.
Wow, these are all right. I'll bring these up with
Listen,
my
you
contact.
know what?
Maybe we'll cut.
We need
maybe
new sponsors.
yeah. You know what? We'll
We need
accept
new
their money
sponsors.
for this episode.
We thank
but
you,
Thank you, Spare Fucks.
You probably
Um,
should have given me a fucking sample.
Yeah,
to
I
be
did not get a
before this
sample.
started.
I did not get a sample
you know what?
because I'll tell you what, I don't give a fuck often, and if they gave me,
And you know what?
yeah,
I don't give a fuck right now.
cheers to that, my friend. But anyway, thanks to Spare Fucks, and get your shit together before you give us any more money, please.
You should have
Anyways,
named it getyourshittogether.com.
that might be a future sponsor. We're in talks right now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, thank
Water
you
bears?
we can do let's do tardigrades, man.
What?
Let's hit
Water
it.
bears?
If Joe is
You wanna
still
get a
here,
moss piglet up in this bitch?
moss piglet, tardigrade, water bear, all the above.
Silky little dehydrated cocoon.
Yep. If anyone can see, look on your screen. There's a picture of I believe is a microscopic image of a water bear.
You should have gotten the most creepy one you could have found.
It's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
It's pretty creepy. They're all creepy, dude. They look like some kind of fucking weird 8-legged monster.
That's exactly what they are.
Yeah, except
Do you know those 8 legs make them swim?
Really?
Yeah, they're like.
Do go on, sir.
No, I'm not gonna. That's a creepy picture. Yeah, they're insane little fuckers, dude. They really, really are. They're very tiny too. Insanely tiny. They think that they could get no bigger than 1 millimeter. which
1.5 is what I read.
1.5, yeah, but usually don't get any bigger
Okay.
than one millimeter.
To be
which is-
clear, 1 millimeter is visible to the naked eye. 100%. Even though all those same
100%.
articles said they can only be viewed with a microscope, you can definitely see a millimeter with the naked eye.
that's visible. I feel
Yeah.
like that is extremely visible.
100%
upset
visible.
That I have not found a tardigrade. I think that's going to be one of the things. I want to hold a tardigrade.
I want to pet a tardigrade, maybe caress
I
it.
want to oh my god.
Pet tardigrade?
Tardigradefarm.com.
Oh my god.
Joey, get on it. Oh man. They
Fuck
can
sea
live
monkeys,
anywhere.
dude.
Tardigrades can live anywhere.
All right, so to be clear, all these facts we're about to spew
Anywhere.
about tardigrades. There are about 1,100 species of tardigrades, maybe a little more.
Yep.
When we say tardigrades can this, tardigrades can that, there are different species that have these characteristics. It's not, you can't just take any tardigrade. You can't take the same tardigrade and throw it in the Arctic tundra, take that same one and throw it in a thermal vent at the bottom of the ocean,
It's not
and
gonna work.
they're not the same one.
No.
But tardigrades are one a genus, I guess,
Genus.
and
Yeah.
tardigratus or something. And I might have made that.
Tardigratus. It's the word.
Did I make
for-
that up? I really feel like I
Nope.
made that up.
No, tardigrades, and it means slow stepper.
Slow stepper. I really did just take tardigrade and add us at the
Tardigrade.
end, and it fucking worked.
He named them
It's just-
tardigrade. It was a tardigrades were discovered by a German pastor named Jonathan August Ephraim.
Hey, what year was that?
Of course, it was like a 15,000 name. Why did people have so many damn names back in the day?
Probably
like,
to pay homage to their
evolve
families
to the point
and
that we
stuff.
only have small ones? That's why we have 4,500 fucking John Smiths in the fucking phone book. Anyway, it was in 1776 that somebody first discovered these creatures.
Oh, Justin came on and said discovered in 1773. I don't know who's right.
Ooh.
I don't know.
It was in 73. In 76, an Italian clergyman, a biologist, discovered that the water bears survived extreme conditions by making transformations. They actually changed to adapt in individuals. So that's like me walking into a tundra in the middle of winter and growing fur.
Holy shit.
Equate it that way.
Now, does
So I
that fur
apologize,
grow?
Justin. Good correction.
Does that fur grow at the same rate that your dick and balls shrivel up into your abdomen, or is
I would
it
assume so. It's got to
Okay.
be one fluid motion if I'm going
One-
to adapt to that
just
environment.
one fluid motion?
One
the
fluid motion.
Frankenbeans inside the body.
You bring the testosterone inside, it pushes the hair outside.
Ah, okay.
You know? That is fantastic. All right,
Just
guys,
real-
thanks
just
for
straight-
tuning in. We've had a great show. It's not going to get much better than that. This was fun. Take care.
No, for real though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do I have very little about them. I just happen to kind of know a few things, I guess. So, tardigrades as a species or as a genus can withstand extreme temperatures, both hot and cold, extreme pressures, both low and high, lack of air, meaning like a vacuum,
Yeah.
extreme radiation, dehydration, meaning lack of water, and also starvation by making these crazy changes to their body. Now, to be clear, when you say things like dehydration and like lack of air, the way that they survive a lot of these extreme temperatures is by basically going into a hibernation state.
Yeah. It's called
They're not like-
cryptobiosis.
What is it?
Cryptobiosis.
Cryptobiosis. Thank you.
Cryptobiosis. It's like an almost. It's like, you know how like people go into a vegetated state like a coma.
I do.
That's probably the closest thing that I would equate it to.
Except their metabolism stops.
Exactly. It's like
People
they're
in a
almost dead.
vegetative state
like they're
still need
almost dead.
nutrients. Yeah, it's like they're dead, except they can be reanimated when the conditions are more habitable.
And they turn into these little balls. They're called tun. T-U-T-U-N.
It's called a
tun.
tune state. Yeah, tune
It's
state.
tune. It's tune.
Tune. I think it's like tin.
Tune.
Tin
Tune.
state.
Not tin. Not tune.
Not ton.
Not
Tun.
ton.
Tin.
Tun. Tun.
Yeah, it sounds like
Tun.
Vietnamese or something. Tin.
Is that like did Attila the Hun come up with that?
I think he did. I think he discovered tardigrades.
Attila the Hun.
That's a topic for a podcast.
Oh yeah, that's insane. Oh yeah.
Or we
that's
could just
100%
play
insane.
Dan Carlin's episode over ours. And
I was just gonna say, yeah, just tune into Dan Carlin, folks. Obviously, he did his.
listen,
research.
Justin came on and said Johann August Ephraim Goes was the first to describe tardigrades in 1773, and then he put a little smiley face with his tongue out.
Got it. Good. I was off. I said I agreed. I said Justin had it. I said he nailed it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I did. I corrected myself.
I'm
It was
sorry.
in 1776 that 1776 is when we signed the Declaration of Independence, making America a goddamn.
The last time it was great.
For the last time, it was great.
So last year was great.
Oh, no, he nailed it. He did. He had that right.
Okay, thanks, Justin.
Yeah. Thank you.
So yeah, so the crazy thing about that tune state, the tune state,
Mhm.
the way I understand is that like they have some sort of chemicals in their body that, like if you were to like freeze a tardigrade, the
Mhm.
reason their cells don't rupture is because their cells become embedded in like a weird like matrix of some sort of something. I don't know. I don't quite understand it, but something happens where their cell, like I think what happens is that in their cells, the water is replaced with a different chemical.
Chemical, yes, and it actually it protects their organs.
Because
Their
water, when it the reason, all right, so the reason you can't take a human being and freeze them and then reanimate them is because water
because
expands.
of the growth of crystals.
Right,
The
water
growth of crystals.
expands and will
Yes.
burst. So that's why when you freeze a strawberry and thaw it, it becomes mush because the water turning into ice, it expands and bursts the cell walls. The same thing happens. That's why you get fucking frostbite, because your cells are just destroyed. They're fucking done.
Destroyed. They're just
Yeah.
destroyed. Yes. Yes.
Tardigrades, this doesn't happen to because they replace the water in their cells with a different chemical that their body produces.
Yeah.
And then when
I
the water
remember
becomes
I
available,
can't remember the name of it too, dude.
I
I remember.
yeah, I
I
didn't write it
remember
down.
reading that. I didn't write it down either.
Yeah.
I had so much stuff written down too, dude, and I got my paperwork mixed up with a whole bunch of other crap that I had one other time.
The dog ate it.
Of course I did.
Whatever.
You done goofed, man. I done
Have you seen that video? The You Done Goofed video? Do you know what that's from?
I have no idea what that even is.
Okay. I'm gonna break it down for you real quick, and then I need you to watch the video.
Come say hi to your cousin Joey. Oh,
What?
She said
Jake?
no. Nope.
You're-
I said her cousin Joey.
Oh, gotcha. I'm
He's watching.
I'm like, you are cousin Joey.
No, I'm cousin Joey. Lauren's got a cousin Joey.
Got it. Anyways,
Yep.
so the You Done Goofed video, to take a totally different tangent. What that video is,
We should rename this podcast Tangent City.
there's a podcast I listen to called Tangentially Speaking.
Tangent, that is awesome. Oh my
It's
god.
great. You would probably really like the podcast. But anyway,
What is it?
Tangentially Speaking with Dr. Chris Ryan.
Oh, Chris Ryan. I know that name.
Yeah, you know Chris Ryan. He wrote Sex at Dawn, the book about why
Yeah,
humans are
okay.
promiscuous
Oh,
naturally.
okay. Tangentially speaking.
Tangentially.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Anyways, so there's a video that came on the internet probably 8 years ago, something like that. And this girl who her like online alias was Jessie Slaughter, and she was like this scene punk kind of goth rocker chick that I think was like 13. And this whole thing happened on the internet where she may or may not had sexual relations with somebody. And it kind
Ooh.
of got out into the public internet forum that she was involved in. And people started like cyberbullying her about the whole thing. Like she sent some guy like nude pictures or something, and she's like a child, you know what I mean? So it was like,
Okay.
like, but whatever. So she makes this video where she's on the talking into the video camera, just crying, and what happened was people started like calling her house and harassing her and stuff, and her father and her mother, I think were her adopted father and mother, obviously were now involved because they live in the house too. And so
Yeah.
she's trying to talk into the camera and kind of be like super melodramatic about the whole thing to try to make like a real juicy crying fucking video. But the father's like really mad, and he's like getting in the camera, and he doesn't know anything about technology or the internet or anything. And he's saying shit like, "We've notified the cyber police and you're all going to go to jail." And dude, he goes on and on and on, yelling into the camera, "You're all going to be arrested, and there will be consequences, and cause you done goofed." And
You
like,
done.
and he's like this old,
you
he's like this old skinny man with like a big mustache, and he
Oh,
has
that's
no
awesome.
fucking clue about anything.
Because you done.
all he
goofed. We
knows
got the
is that-
cyber police.
Dude, all he knows is that there's people in the computer who harassed his daughter, and there will be, and then the best line is he goes, "And consequences will never be the same." Like he can't even,
Couldn't even process.
he can't even, yeah, he can't even
Consequences will
fucking
never
do
be
it.
the same.
Yeah, it's so good, dude.
Constantly changing consequences for what
They-
you've done.
Yep, ever evolving and changing consequences for
Oh,
your
my
actions.
God.
Yeah,
Well,
so look it up.
I'll
or
have to look it up.
I'll send
I'll
you.
have to look it
I'll
up.
find it for you, and I'll send you a link, and we
Okay.
can talk about it next time. But it's the best video ever to have ever come on the internet.
That's sick.
Sadly, though, the girl is continued to be a wreck, and she has just been a mental mess, from what I understand, since that whole time. And
That's a shame. No, that's
the guy has since passed away, the father. The girl, I think, has been in and out of foster homes. The video itself, in a micro, in itself, if you take it just how it is hilarious.
I wish
and
you had
bananas.
just ended that story where you ended. You know what, dude? You done goofed.
I didn't goof though because
you just
because
did.
you're still gonna
gave
love
me
the
too
video.
much info, dude.
You're still gonna love the video.
I was up here, bro, and I
Mm-mm.
was looking forward to something, and then you brought me right down.
You're still gonna love
You
the
see
video.
how you're
trust
putting
me.
that cat down?
Yeah.
That's what you
That's
did
what
to
I
my
did.
emotions.
That's what I did to your heart. I'm sorry.
Listen, anyway.
Anyways.
During cryptobiosis,
Yeah.
tardigrades actually lessen their metabolic activity. Metabolic. You're an asshole. Shut up. Give me a goddamn second, all right? I'm just dealing with the emotional roller coaster you just sent me on.
Give me a second.
Sometimes I'm not going to be able to speak clearly. I wasn't speaking
Continue.
clear. That was mispronouncing words.
Continue.
That is a cute cat. That is a cute cat.
He's the best.
They bring that down to like 0.01%.
Their metabolic rate, you said.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Their organs are protected by a gel called trehalose, TREHALOSE.
Okay.
I cannot remember the name, but that was the chemical that you were talking about that helped them with that. You know what I mean? Makes them a larger amount of antibiotics and everything like that to just sustain them while they're in the tune. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah.
Joe, by the way, Joe commented on her. He said, a crazy thing about them is that when they asexually reproduce, the female lays an egg that is able to self-fertilize.
Exactly. Yes.
That's bananas.
They can. Yeah. Thanks for stealing the fact, Joe. No, they can also, but not only that, but they can reproduce asexually, is like both ways. You know what I'm saying? They can reproduce regularly.
Oh, okay.
Like the old boink-a-doink,
Yep,
or
the old knocking
females
boots.
do it on their own, which also brings up those freaking crayfish. That's like those crayfish.
Wait, so why do they even bother having sex if they can just... Oh, for genetic diversity, I guess, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you see the new Wonder Woman movie?
Bang, I did.
Did you remember the scene when they were on the boat?
Yeah.
And he was like trying to talk about sex with her, and she was like, well, no, I get that. Like, and I know men are like needed for reproduction, but they're really not needed for pleasure. I was like, oh,
snap, those girls are diddling each other, what?
Damn, so she's still single, right?
Gal Gadot is a smoke show.
What's Gal Gadot?
Gal Gadot is the actress who plays Wonder Woman.
That's her name?
Yeah, she's Israeli, I think.
Really? Oh man, that means she's a legit soldier.
She has been 18 years old.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah. Israel knows what's
tangent.
up,
Tangent. Wouldn't that be so great for us, dude? Wouldn't that be so great for Americans?
Should have to have military service. Dude, it's only going to propel you. We were just talking about this the other day. Jay, if Jay's listening, have a shout out. Jay, me and Jay were talking about this, I think it was yesterday, about how crucial that would be. And he was also talking about how he would love if the draft existed. Because the draft would give a lot of people that are protesting wars and stuff like that purpose in the aspect of like, oh, well, I don't want to go. And I'm like, well, yeah, dude, that makes perfectly good sense, because why wouldn't we all want to work towards something? When a draft occurs and we actually have to draft people, they question what those people did. What do you do for work? Well, when you're trying to get that mass amount of people into something, into war and everything like that, you need people that are painting tanks. You need people that are building aircraft. You're an engineer. Oh my God. Well, or you were this, you were that. Then they try to put you in those lines of work when they need mass amount of people like that.
Do they? They try to do that?
Oh, absolutely, 100%, dude.
I know nothing about how the draft.
Well, this is the thing, though, too, dude. The draft was well before our life. I think it was. Vietnam was the last draft.
I don't know necessarily that I agree with the idea of a draft, but I like the idea of when you turn 18,
you have to go do military service.
You have to go do military. And if we happen to be in a time of,
this is the difference. A draft you can avoid. Mandatory military service, you're doing it.
Right.
And in a country like ours, I don't want to. And that's part of my freedoms.
Yeah, but I mean, if when you turned 18, you had to,
it's ingrained in
it
the
would
society.
be a different.
Listen, I'm not personally saying I don't want to, and that's part of my freedoms. I would love that idea. You know what I mean?
Right.
I would. So I think it's a good idea. I thought it was a really good idea. I think that would be dope.
Jeff Chen. Jeff Chen, what's up? Jeff Chen is on. He says, "I'm reporting both of you to the cyber police," in all caps. Do your worst, Jeff.
Do your worst,
I
Jeff.
can
I
take
swear
the
to God, if
cyber
we get shut
police.
down, I'm gonna find you,
Oh.
and I'm gonna hug you. Now he's like working furiously. to
Jeff
shut
Chen.
this down
Jeff Chen
right
about to get it.
now. About Jeff Chen.
I was talking to him earlier.
It's so fun. I was always laughing about how you guys call him Jeff Chen because I had a group of people that called me Joey Hutnick all the time, and I
don't
always
know what it
cracked
is.
me up.
I don't know what it is
Doubt
because
it?
he's not Jeff. Jeff
not-
Chen goes, "Take me." I don't know if that's like "take me" or like "take me." It just says "take me." I don't
it
know.
means take me, bro.
Take me.
Oh my
I'm
God.
ready. Take me. You can have me.
We are totally tangenting away from tardigrades.
That's fine. I haven't even talked about cockroaches yet. Oh, he said take me Liam Neeson style. Like
Oh.
wait, like take me as in the
Take
way
in?
as in the way the girl was taken? Do like you want to be a sex slave or like you want to get beat the fuck out of the way Liam Neeson did to everybody in that movie?
I'm not doing either of those things to you, Jeff Chen. So worry not, friend. I'm just gonna take it as what the.
Well, Jeff Chen has kung fu in his blood. So, a half kung fu.
Oh my God, dude! I saw this fantastic thing today, and it had a picture of this old school doctor, and it was like, man, how cool would it have been to like be like a doctor in the olden days and just be drunk all the time, and be like, yeah, you got ghost in your blood, you should go do cocaine about it,
I love that, dude.
dude. Oh, I did send that to you. I
You
forgot
did
to
send
send
it to me. That's my
That's
favorite
so
thing
great.
ever, dude. That's that's a topic for another time too. That
Oh,
the way
God.
people just did fucking drugs back in the day,
Mhm.
like it was whatever. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of down. Like, oh, the doctor's like, hey, here's some meth.
Listen,
Go for
man,
it.
listen. There's something going on with you. I'm gonna cut you here, and I'm gonna just let some of your blood drain out. You'll
Into
feel
this
better
bucket.
later.
Yeah, drain
Yeah.
into. We're gonna drill a
Uh,
hole in your skull,
yeah.
and maybe that'll exercise your demons.
Yeah, Doc, it's fantastic. I feel so
Medic-
great. That was a
Medical degree? What is what?
What-
What is that?
what?
Go to
Do
school? No, I just got a
scruples?
hunch. I just got a hunch. It's
Do
fine.
you have scruples or? Oh, my
Trust me,
God.
I have a black bag. It's fine.
It's fine. I have a black. No, there's like no. It's like a. Doctors legit.
You
used
could
to go
just
around
show
with-
up. You could just show
Dude,
up in
they'd
a town and
show
be
up
like,
with
"I'm
the
a doctor,"
leather-
and they'd be
with
like,
the black-
"Sweet,
yeah, a
sweet."
black leather tackle box.
Just go to a town that doesn't have a doctor, say, "I'm the doctor," and you're in. That's it.
You're the doctor. No, I'm
Hey-
a doctor.
Yeah.
Holy crap, you're right. Wow, that's messed up.
Mm-hmm. I'm a doctor.
Oh my God, I'm a doctor.
You could- Yeah. Anyways, so I
what
think
other?
we're.
Give me a fact and give me another tardigrade.
I literally had 3 lines and we talked about them all. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I didn't do a lot on tardigrades.
They can get like ridiculously hot, ridiculously cold, and like Jake had
Yep,
said,
yep.
they like over 300 degrees.
Oh,
Temperatures over
they,
300 degrees. Temperatures as low as like 200.
They only
Below
live
328 degrees below Fahrenheit. Like
One-
that's insane. Like a swing like that. But like Jake said, different species are able to do that. There's some that can like live over by lava and everything. It's fucking crazy.
One of the things I did write down was they only live in water. We did not mention that. These are not a land-dwelling animal. They only
No.
live in bodies of water.
Right,
Only.
but they are so small they could legitimately live in the dew.
Right. On
Of
like
a
a leaf.
leaf.
Yeah, right.
So this is
Um,
the thing though, Jake.
Yeah.
If they have the ability to get into these tuns, okay?
Yep.
And that drop of water drops off that leaf, and that tardigrade needs to go on the leaf.
Mm-hmm.
When the next drop of water comes, it goes,
And right back.
"Hello, world." It's like,
And so you want to hear
so essentially, they can live anywhere.
right. And okay, so the fact that they can live anywhere means that they're something called a pioneer species, meaning that a lot of the time throughout evolution of the planet, they were the first species to inhabit a given ecosystem or environment, and because of their something about the fact that they were the first ones to kind of end up there, they will bring in predators of them and stuff like that. Like somebody has to show up first, and because they're so survivable, they show up first, and it causes predators to come in because they find food and shit like that. I thought that was pretty interesting. That, they're the
They're
first ones.
Vikings.
They're fucking pioneers. Joe says we're studying them for space survival now. When launched into space, they survive for long periods of time.
Yes, tardigrades
that's correct.
can survive 10 days at low orbit, Earth low orbit, exposed to the vacuum of space and their resistance to radiation.
Well,
so
okay.
People are out in space in spacesuits, and they need that resistance to radiation. They can survive that.
Right.
The bombardment of the closer radiation.
But they're in that tune state, aren't they?
They're what?
Aren't they in the tune state while they're in the vacuum of space?
That I do not know.
They have to be because they're not in water. They must be.
Maybe they. I don't know. Joe would be the one to ask on that.
Jeff Chen says, "Shout out to all my Norwegians out there." I don't really know what
Norwegians are Vikings, dude. Are you serious?
Oh, okay. He was just tagging on to your. Okay, got it. Sorry, Jeff.
I think right. Viking. Yeah, we're Norway, bro.
Yeah, Norway.
Yeah. Norway.
I don't have anything else on the old
Leif
water
Erikson,
bears.
bro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's a Viking. Leif Erikson's a Viking. He
Also,
was the Viking.
Ragnar Lothbrok.
That's actually Viking lore. That's like King Arthur. That's like King Arthur kind of stuff.
Was Ragnar like a supposed real person on the show Vikings?
Yeah.
Have you watched that?
Yeah, I've
Great
watched
show.
Vikings. Great show.
Great show.
Great show.
Great show.
Yeah. They showed the boobs on that show.
Did they? No, it's on the History Channel. They didn't show any boobs on there.
Well, you know what? Doesn't matter. Then obviously
a lot of killing though. A lot of.
Oh, dude, that was a brutal show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not finished it, so don't spoil anything.
I have no idea where I left off.
I think I only got to
show.
season 2 or 3.
I gotta be honest with you, dude. I just don't watch television that much anymore.
Probably
I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't. There's nothing.
I watch like an episode of something like a couple times a night. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. I'll just throw on stuff that I've seen a dozen times as background noise.
You know what I've seen many, many times now? Friends.
Friends is a really good show.
Lots and lots of Friends. I hear Friends get shit on a lot, and I don't get it. The fact that
Friends
the show
is a great show.
I think the thing that people get hung up on is the fact that it was like the fact that it has a laugh track, I think fucks a lot of people up. But that show is legit funny. Like I LOL at that show.
Oh yeah, no, that's
real.
definitely a great laugh out loud. Are you kidding me? Mrs. Chenandler Bong? That's hilarious.
Chenandler Bong.
Mrs. Chenandler Bong? That is great.
Could I be wearing any more clothes?
Dude, that is such a good show.
It is really good.
Dude, that was like the young hipper Seinfeld, I feel like, at its time.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
But
like,
Seinfeld doesn't have a laugh track, right? Does it?
I don't, Jake. I gotta be honest with you. When you said laugh track, all I thought about was Big Bang Theory, because the laugh track on Big Bang Theory. Well, this is the thing though, is there's a lot of Big Bang Theory that I did enjoy, but there was a lot of that was like the show that I remember thinking, I'm like, that wasn't that funny. That wasn't that funny.
Or like shit that's just straight up not a joke, and they put the laugh track in. Like straight up not a joke.
Yeah.
Joe says in space they do go into a hibernation state. There's apparently also land quote water bears in deserts that are in hibernation, chilling in the desert. So they're not really a land.
The thing. So listen,
but they're just hanging out waiting for water to show up.
Do you think? Well, they're not that they hanging out for water show.
They're in hibernation.
But if they're so microscopic, and you're talking about a storm that comes in.
Yeah.
Or something like that, or like dust storms that have small molecules of water on them, or something. These can be in small molecules of water, and they could be, they could be pushed into the desert, and then picked up again and delivered all over.
Yeah, like on the dust. Yeah,
tiny, on the dust,
like blown into the rainforest.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah,
and they only eat fluid too. They suck the juice from algae and lichen and moss. That was one of the things that I thought was cool.
I read that they eat
some species are
nematodes and stuff.
And cannibals.
Yeah, they eat nematodes and shit like that.
Yep.
Other eat single-celled Well, that's the crazy thing
Yes.
is like a lot of them are the size of single-celled organisms,
Yeah,
but
that
they
well,
are
that was
animals.
the first
They're an
time that
animal with
I really
organs and
looked
shit.
into these at all. Is that was the thing that blew my mind. Is I was like, these are like, like unbelievably small.
So I
Like
think we should address
small.
the idea that some people suspect that tardigrades came from another planet
Their planet.
because they're so hardy in space.
Yes.
I
Because that how could
that's a really cool idea.
I
But
love
it could
that
just be
idea.
a quirk of their evolution. It doesn't necessarily mean that they came from space. The fact that they can survive in space.
But our understanding and grasp of evolution is adaptation to the environments you are exposed to. Am I right?
No, it's just something happens
That's my
that doesn't.
no. I'm just saying that's
I don't think that's the case. What I understand it to be is that something either allows you to be more likely to make babies or less likely to
or
make
less likely to
babies.
make babies.
And that's
Right,
it.
but it's
So it could just be a consequence of some other feature that they have that allows them to be um
more adaptive. Oh my God, I cannot talk today.
it doesn't necessarily mean that they came from space, the fact that they can survive in space.
Yes.
I'm sure there's like fungi and stuff that could survive in a vacuum. But I don't know. Who knows? It's a cool idea. I'm not discounting it. I'm just saying that you can't necessarily 100% link the two together. It's a cool idea. It's fun.
Right. Well, you can't just definitively be like, no, then they had to have come from space.
Right, but some people
Yeah.
when tardigrades got like popular, like the idea of them got popular like a couple years ago, people were like, "Oh yeah, they must have came from space," because it's such a fun idea, you know.
Well, this is the thing though, is if you look at it at something like that, especially like evolving
Mm-hmm.
from something so small that is mostly aquatic, and we came from fish that came from tadpoles and we crawled out of the water slowly, and you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, turned into mud skippers, and then the mud skippers turned into lizards, and the lizards turned into like, are you know what I'm saying? Like, people, I can understand why people would say, well, that makes sense. We were delivered here by a meteor.
Yeah, but
I can understand the reasoning why somebody
it's
would
called
look at it.
panspermia. Yeah, but I mean,
Panspermia,
yeah, no,
right.
total. I'm not discounting the idea that life came from another planet, but tardigrades specifically,
Specifically.
maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Joe says it's a combination of both. Environmental forces cause change in genetics, which also ups reproductive success.
Yeah.
Maybe
But
that, or maybe it doesn't. Change environmental changes could cause you to be less likely to reproduce, and then you get it go extinct, like a comet hitting the Earth. You know, it works both ways.
let's just go. I really do like that a lot of our conversations, Jake, we very often get to the point of I have no idea, and I don't think anybody else really does.
Yeah, but
And the
people get papers that have their name on them that they paid $200,000 for, so they have to say things with more
They,
conviction than you and I do.
yeah, valid. That's why I'm happy.
When
that
they say
I'm
things,
not-
they have
yeah.
to be like, "No, this is the truth."
No, this is the
because
truth.
they have
This
a
is the
thing on the wall
situation.
behind them here that says, "The things
I'm
I
Danny
say are
DeVito."
true, and you have to believe me." Also, I'm Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
With that being said, I would probably believe
With
anything that
being
comes out of
said,
Danny
thanks.
DeVito's
We've had a
mouth.
great time. We'll see you later.
Yeah, don't please. This is what the third time you've done the cane thing on the podcast. Just drop it.
Good. No, I'm not. See this?
Fine.
It's gonna be there.
Okay.
You got to
fine.
get over it, dude.
Can I talk about cockroaches now?
Yeah. I
God
suppose,
damn it.
If you want to.
I don't have to. We could do a whole cockroach episode.
I don't want to do a cockroach episode.
Then let me get it out of my system now. I don't have a whole lot, okay? So just let me talk about it because it's one of the animals we promised
Cockroach.
to
Crotch
talk about.
rot.
Crotch
Crotch
rot.
rot.
Crotch roast.
Cockroaches. Cockroaches.
Crockpot. I actually wrote a lot.
Cockroaches.
I wrote a lot on cockroaches.
Oh, real quick, dude. There was this other thing that I did see about tardigrades. There was an experiment where somebody had pulled a piece of moss that had been claimed to be over 120 years old
Mhm.
and brought tardigrades back to life. It was some museum or something like that that had this crazy display for the longest time, and somehow or another they were like, "Oh my God, wait a minute! This is like, you know, they put it in water
There's
for
probably a
whatever
tardigrade
reason,
on here.
whatever reason, and it came
120
back
years
to
old.
life. 120 years old.
Is this like an old piece of dried up fucking moss?
It was just a piece of dried up moss.
That's bananas.
Yeah. Whether or
Wow.
not, and now I also saw another one too, some other crazy experiment that said it was like a 32 year, like they know it was 32 years specific that they had this thing.
Mm-hmm.
2016 scientists revived 2 tons and an egg that had been in cryptobiosis for more than 30 years.
Joe. Tun.
Tun. Attila the Hun. Experiment 1948 claimed that the tun, over 120 years old, has been revived.
Whoa.
But they also claim that it's never been replicated. So,
Ooh, that's a tough thing. That's a tough
Well,
thing. Like,
how are-
wow, the scientists did this crazy thing 100 years ago. Nobody can seem to replicate it. But we
No, it's a
believe
no,
them,
no,
though.
no,
We
no,
believe
no.
them.
No, it was in 1948. It was in 1948. But my thought is, like, it hasn't even been 100 years. Jack off.
70 years ago? 70 years
Yeah,
ago.
70 years ago.
It was a different
Mhm.
fucking planet 70 years ago, basically.
It was a different planet 70 years ago.
So the other thing I have is that the animals that live in caves are called troglobites, and
Troglobites,
they have a
yeah.
decreased loss of eyesight, slow metabolism, less pigment. Sorry, that's from the caves episode.
That's from the old Caves episode, yeah. And you're mad that I brought up the cane?
Shut up.
I'm going to tell you what. Get on cockroaches. I got to go pee.
Okay. So yeah, our final animal for this episode is are cockroaches. Our final animal is the final animals are cockroaches. The final category is cockroaches. Cockroaches, I guess, have been around for about 300 million years. There are about 4,500 species, so a little less than half of all. It's a lot. There's a lot, but not as many as some other kinds of animals. But modern roaches that we know of now have been around for about 145 million years, from the Cretaceous period, which is when flowering plants started to spread. So that's a long fucking time ago. A long time ago. And the reason that one of the main reasons they are such a hardy animal, or does hardy have to do with temperature? They're a resilient animal. There's actually a lot of reasons. One of the main ones is that they eat pretty much everything. There's a species of them that eats all kinds of different things, and they're one of a big role of insects on this planet is to eat things and break it down. They're a decomposer. They take things that are rotting or whatever and break it down into lesser chemicals that lesser organisms can then produce.
Dude, I swear to you, I'm just jumping into what you were just talking about. I brought this up with my friend Jay yesterday, said that we were doing this podcast, said he was bringing up cockroaches and how much he hates them. He goes, what the hell is the purpose of those? I said, dude, they're there to break shit down. They get rid of the garbage.
Well, that's the thing is
feel like.
I think it's like less than 1% of all species of cockroaches are the ones that end up in your house and fuck your shit up and you need to exterminate. All other cockroaches live in totally different environments, have no business being in your house, live in the brush and the woods and all kinds of different environments and break down decaying matter. Basically.
Decaying matter. Yep. I knew it. I swear to you, Jake, I guessed that.
Well, that's awesome.
Unless I subconsciously remembered it from something specific, dude. I think it was this that we talked about, and he was like, dude, what are the meaning of those? I remember seeing one in my apartment in New York. I saw it on the toilet, and I was walking in there. He goes, I had to leave the freaking apartment. And I'm like, dude, they're there to break shit down. There's bugs out there that break down decaying matter. That's their only purpose.
That's what's crazy, dude. It's like I've seen, now knowing that stat, the fact that such a small percentage of them are the ones that we consider pests, I've seen a roach in my house, but not your typical big fat, like nasty one. I've seen something, I'm like, that kind of looks like a roach, and I looked it up, and it was, but it fucked me up. I'm like, does my fucking house have roaches? But the fact that was in my house means just as much as if I find some kind of random fucking beetle in my house. It just happened to make its way in there. It's on the wall. I get it out. Whatever. Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily an indicator of anything.
An invasive species, and there's 1,000 of them in your wall.
Yeah. Shit just gets in my house. Whatever. Yeah. And it's not like part of me was like, burn the house down, leave.
Dude, as we were sitting here before, I had 2 fucking of those like Japanese beetles that everybody calls ladybugs in my house because I get them bad. Pretty sure
people call those ladybugs. I've
The
never heard
little
somebody
freaking
call them.
orange ones that look like ladybugs, dude,
But
with
they're
the white
big.
eyes.
But they're big.
No, they're not big. They're regular looking ladybugs.
They look like a ladybug?
Yeah, ladybugs are red with all black face.
Okay.
The orangish looking ones that have a
Uh-huh.
black face but some like white eyes
Uh-huh.
on it, or I'm going the other way around,
Uh-huh.
are like this an invasive species of some kind of a different a beetle from a different country, obviously somewhere else. That's what an invasive species is.
Right, right.
Yeah, they're not the same as ladybugs. Ladybugs have black faces, I'm sure. But I just saw them flying around, and I'm like, God damn, dude! Like these things were all dead last year. They get in your house, dude, and then they all die. But they went into a vegetative state. They're waking back up.
Have you ever seen a Rorschach beetle?
No,
I'm gonna show you something real quick.
I want to. No, don't. I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up. You tell me about the Rorschach beetle as I'm looking.
I don't know anything about it. They just look really crazy. They're just a really fucking cool looking beetle. And one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken is of a Rorschach beetle.
You've seen these.
Yeah,
How are you
saw
spelling
one.
Rorschach? Spell Rorschach.
Let me try to get this to see that.
No, hold on. Give me a second. Oh yeah, that's dope.
It has
Oh
red.
wow, that's real dope.
It has red legs, a green head, and a black and white Rorschach test looking
That's
pattern
awesome,
on its back.
dude.
One of my favorite pictures I've ever taken.
You took that picture?
Yeah. Yep.
You need to send me that.
It's on my Instagram. I will send it to you though.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah. So cockroaches.
continue.
Yeah.
Continue. I apologize.
So what you missed was some stuff about how long they've been around.
You know, don't bring it back up.
that's
I'll figure-
okay.
I'll watch this.
Okay, so I think sometime in the 1900s when roaches kind of started to become a problem in the developing into cities and stuff like that, it was really easy to exterminate them because you could just make a poison that was like very sugary with like glucose, and the roaches would get all over it and they would fucking eat it and die, whatever. Within 10 years of this happening, the roaches changed their body chemistry to no longer find sweet things enjoyable and now found it distasteful instead and didn't eat the bait within 10 years. So glucose bait doesn't work on glucose poison doesn't work on roaches anymore. It only took 10 years for that to happen. And the reason for that is because when they molt, only when they molt do their cells divide. Like you and I, our cells are dividing all the time.
Right.
But their cells divide. I don't quite understand the mechanism, but because their cells divide so seldomly, it's easier for them to make genetic changes. So they evolve very rapidly because their cells don't divide as much.
Imagine just going like, oh man, that was exhausting. That sucked. All right, I'll be better at that next time.
Yeah, right.
And
Makes me wonder what
legitimately
other
just,
directions
like,
they could have
better
gone in Men in Black. What other directions they could have gone with that?
Oh.
Remember the roach guy? I gotta watch that again.
Remember the movie Mimic? Watch Mimic if you want to
Mimic.
see roaches.
I don't think I've seen
That's
Mimic.
an old. That one probably came out when you were young. Mimic was an old movie with Mira Sorvino. I think it was a Miramax film.
Ooh. Anyway, what else do I have on them?
Roaches?
Yeah. It's said that they can survive for weeks without a head. Apparently, hasn't been scientifically
really true.
recreated.
No, that's like that's like that chicken that survived without a head for a while. But
Yeah, is that
people
true
were
or
feeding it with an
not?
eye drop. Said it was feeding it with an eye drop, dude. How are you gonna say it's not true? If it's possible, if the guy lopped it at a bad angle, and then part of the neck retracted. and
Yeah, or
stayed
like, I think the thing was
know what
that
I'm
he
saying?
must have left the brainstem somehow.
He left the brain.
I think that was a thing.
Think about like if he had cut.
Because
like
if you
this,
sever
Jake,
the spinal cord, it's done. Yeah, so if you left the brainstem to leave all the cerebral spinal fluid,
that part of that
yeah.
brainstem, but just like anything else, it was able to retract like an Achilles tendon, snap, and it pulled back into the body.
Right,
But then the esophagus was still left there.
right.
It's possible. Absolutely, it's possible. But I've heard that. But think about it: if a cockroach was at that point where it could just keep pushing its body into something that it could actually digest and absorb. Maybe that's how they did the study. Did you keep putting food in front of the thing that you were studying? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
When they
don't
cut its
know.
head off.
Well, they can.
That's
Well,
not-
let's see. They can go a long time without food. What did I say? They can go a month without food. So that's not really even part of the
Do
equation.
they need water?
They can go 2 weeks without water.
2 weeks without water
Mhm.
or food. Water or food.
Yes, but a month without just food. If they have water, they can go a month without food, I guess. I don't know exactly the math on it.
I wouldn't know how that would be equated either. Because like people don't want to eat if they don't have water.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really feel like talking about roaches anymore. I think I'm just gonna call it with the roaches.
Good. All right, dude.
I
There
don't.
ain't nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I don't have
We can
anything to
move on to
say
anything.
about roaches that isn't more interesting. That's more interesting than any of
Then-
the other stuff we've said so far.
Well, this is the thing, dude, is I think that we were kind of aiming towards something specific when I realized that our conversations usually work the best if we just bullshit and have a couple facts about something
Yeah,
and not try to stay on specific subjects.
yeah, I like
It
the
needs
idea
to be
of
a broad subject, and we need to not worry about it. Don't worry
Yeah,
about the
a theme.
graphics.
but it's fun. It looks cool.
It was fun. It did. I bet you. Do you know what, dude? I had a ball. I'm already enjoying the hell out of myself. We're almost
yeah,
on 2
dude.
hours. We're definitely staying on for until it's at 2 hours.
Oh, it's
You
another.
know.
Well, if we're talking about how long we've been live, it's another
No,
40
it's been
seconds.
2 more. Yeah.
But if
2.
we're talking about recording, it's another 2.5 minutes.
We just broke through. Nice.
Yeah, man.
This was dope.
Yeah,
Who's
it's cool.
watching? Who's
Long
still
one.
watching?
I think it's just
What
Joe.
do-
I think it's just Joe.
Just Joe.
I think
Just
Joe's
Joe.
been the through line this entire time. I think he's been the only one watching the whole time. We had
That's
a few people
fantastic.
pop on and off. I
I'll
don't
take it,
know.
man. Joey,
um,
thanks for listening, man.
We had
This was
5
cool.
at the peak between Twitch and YouTube. It's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
I dig
So
it.
now you can see all the different people.
I can just see the number. I can only see who they are if they comment.
Gotcha.
And we got Rob and Johnny were on. He said,
Which?
"Get learnt, boys."
Yeah, who said that?
Joe.
Joey. See, we need somebody that knows their shit.
He said this was a good time. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, this was
Thank
definitely
you,
a good
Joe.
time.
Yeah,
thank
dude,
and
this
thank
was
you
fun,
for
man.
helping us out with a couple points
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
That was very helpful.
See, this is why dude, Jake. Why is the reason why you wouldn't be able to get 3 people's heads up on this thing?
I can. Well, the problem is the program I use. It's free. If I have 3 or more people, the call will be limited to 40 minutes without me paying for it. Right now, this is free. One-on-one, it's free, unlimited. Once you get 3 people or more, it's limited to 40 minutes.
But how much is it to pay for that after that?
I don't think it's a whole lot. I can look. I don't think it's a whole lot.
That'd be fun, dude. I'm almost
Yeah.
willing to fucking throw a little down, dude, so we can get a third person up in here.
Dude, well, I'm totally
That'd have
down.
been fun. That would have been fun.
I'd have to rework all
know
my
what I mean?
graphics, but I'm down.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Figure all
Um,
that crap out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with it, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
that'd
down
be
for
fun.
whatever. I'm down
the
for
hell,
whatever.
man?
I'm always down to do new
Mhm.
things with the podcast. The bee thing was a success. You know,
The
everybody
B
seemed
thing
to
was
really
great,
like the
dude. That
bee
was a
thing.
really good episode. Joey, you should watch the B one. The B
Yeah.
one was cool, man. The B one was very cool.
Well, before we wrap this up, I just want to do some shout outs and do a little bit of housekeeping. I hate calling it housekeeping, but it's just in
Yeah,
my
why do you
lexicon.
call it housekeeping? That's
That's
shit
what
that you
that's
have
what
to
the
get done,
but
bro.
that's what the podcast people say. All right, what am I going to call it then? What do
Huh?
I call it when I have to talk about podcast stuff in the podcast? What do I call it? Like when I have to say things, you know what I mean?
Podcast? I don't know, dude.
Whatever.
Podcast jargon.
It's not jargon though. Well, anyway,
Housekeeping. You want me for
housekeeping?
pillow?
you want me jack you up?
What kind of hotel is this?
I think she goes out with one of the Yankees.
Yankees. Hey, Richard.
Anyway,
What's your favorite little rascal?
just
Is
call
it
it Inception
alfalfa?
time.
Or Spanky?
So anyways, I just want to give some quick shout outs. We have people that are following the podcast in London and Sweden. So fucking shout out to you guys. That's awesome. And fuck, what's the city? There's somebody in Virginia that is the leader in downloads.
No way.
Yep, somebody in Virginia. Why the fuck can't I think I gotta look at what city they're in. But the person in Virginia has been downloading every fucking episode since they started getting on, and thank you so much for that. It's awesome. I would love to hear from you. All the other places are kind of sporadic. There's somebody in Mountain View, California that's pretty consistent. Somebody here in Asheville that lives in the same fucking town as me that downloads a ton of episodes. I don't know who it is.
It's your girlfriend in the other room.
It could be. She says
Could
it's
be.
not her. She says it's not her downloading it, and she doesn't listen to it anyway. So,
That's cool, man.
it's Ashburn, Virginia. Ashburn, Virginia. Thank you so much. Obviously Waterbury and Wolcott. It's my family. Thank you. Thank everybody.
It's
for
not all your
checking it out.
family, dude. You never know other people. Well, Lauren.
Based on the
yeah, well,
numbers,
Lauren's- yeah,
based on
yeah.
the numbers, it's you guys. It's you and you and Jackie and Lauren. But yeah, we just got some new listeners in Florida, in Orlando. 5 downloads out of Orlando today. We got some downloads in different parts, bunch of different countries, but they seem to be like just one here, one there, whatever. But the Sweden ones, in Stockholm and in London, those seem to be continuing to download. So thank you guys so much. By all
That's
means,
awesome.
please reach out. I'd love to hear from you, get your feedback. And everybody listening, just keep in mind we do have a Patreon set up. And we could always use your support on there. It's very low stakes stuff, and obviously any donations would go right back into the podcast, me getting better equipment, paying for my hosting, stuff like that. That would always be much appreciated. I'm working on trying to figure out better rewards for stuff like that. That actually kind of makes sense. But if anybody has any ideas, let me know. Eventually I want to do stuff like kind of weird, like merch swag stuff as rewards, but right now I'm trying to figure out the whole Discord chat thing or ways for you to interact with me if that's what you want to do. I don't know. If you people that listen to the podcast have any desire to interact with me personally, let me know, because that's useful information. If not, that's fine, whatever, but any feedback is much appreciated.
Live podcasts are obviously the one that we're getting the most interaction out of, which is good.
Well, yeah, while it's live, people are coming on, so that means something.
Yeah.
Kazoo merch, Joe says, I don't know what that means. You saying I should have kazoos with super cereal print?
Kazoo merch is probably a website where you can go and get merchandise for yourself cheap.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what that sounds like. We were just talking about merchandise. So if you want to go get something that's going to have your stuff printed out,
Okay,
dude,
yeah,
I know a
there's a
screen
million.
printer, dude. I can get you shirts.
There's a
and stuff
million
like
ways
that.
I can. Well, that's the thing. I don't know if anybody fucking wants a super cereal shirt. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody gives a shit. I don't know if maybe they would rather be a guest one day or something. I have no idea. I
Yeah.
don't know what people want. You know what I mean? There's a specific. I don't know. There's a lot to figure out, but I'm always down for suggestions and feedback. Whatever. If people just want to fucking play Star Wars with me one day as a reward, that'd be cool. Whatever. I don't know.
Dude, I'm down for that.
I know you
I'm
are.
down. I can
Fucking-
absolutely give support to fucking sitting down playing video games.
Well, cool. With all that being said,
Especially live, right after the podcast,
Yeah.
every Tuesday night.
Tuesday.
All right,
Cool.
seriously, I gotta finish this beer. It's gonna be a long night.
For those listening, Joe comically picked up a 5-gallon water jug and pretended like it was beer. Anyways, thanks everybody for listening. I guess we're gonna call this a nice long one. And thanks for everybody who checked out live. And thanks to everybody who downloads it later. Thank everyone for your support. And we will see you next time. Later.
Goodbye. Thanks for tuning in.